What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1039 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here today with my guest co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Tate, and I am the community manager here at Timcast.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know what? Full panel means a good day for me.
So we
panel.
We were not expecting a full panel today. I reached out to everybody, and
it was unexpected, which made it even happier. You know, was like, yes.
I asked Tate earlier in the week. He said Thursday. I got you on Thursday. How you doing, buddy?
On Thursday. I am. Well, hello everyone. Hello. I'm very pleased to be here. Outnumbered by Dacivics. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's kind of equal now, right?
Yeah. We're here with the minor.
We're tied.
I don't know if I count.
You count.
Me and Tate aren't married, aren't partners. Hey, a little callback.
Yeah,
little callback for you guys.
Was that you last week?
That was.
Yeah.
The four of us last week.
Where Brandon said partner, and everybody gave him the side eye.
Everybody was like,
that was crazy.
Olivia flat out thought I was gay for like 45 seconds.
Well, we could be related. I mean, do you have what what extraction are you of?
I don't have any ginge running in the old bloodstream.
Are we talking Polish?
Main
are we
vein?
talking Irish?
I just saw an article.
A little bit, yeah.
I just saw an article that said like the redheaded population is growing.
Oh.
Yeah,
for like the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's weird because like my parents don't know where it came from because neither of them are.
They're not ginger. Really?
Neither of their parents.
Is it like
Siblings?
one of those
siblings?
things like where it's like Gremlins, where like someone just got one of them wet and they just started springing out offspring?
That's so weird.
It could be. I don't know what it was.
Do you have
I used
siblings
to be way. No, I don't have any siblings.
Okay.
I used to be way more ginger when I was a kid too. Like now it's kind of more brown, but like when I was a kid, it was like bright red.
Like the sun like
yeah.
mellowed
I
you
was
out.
like, someone's like, oh, he's ginger. I was like, and then I saw it like in sunlight. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, he is.
Yeah, it's like a weird like pearlescent kind of hair color.
There you go.
Yeah, it works though. Yeah.
So we got a full panel here, everybody, which means it's going to be a good day. So hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. We don't get a chance very often to have full roundtable panels here, so it's always fun when we get to do that. I believe there was a 20. Do you have that one pulled up
no,
there?
I don't. I do not have
here.
chat pulled up today.
I got it. Well, you can if you wanna. Your call.
Go ahead.
From Shane H. Wilder says, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Dacivics in Patriot." Well, you said Patriot. Are we cooked with Are we cooked with Prego, the pasta sauce, releasing Connection Keeper, a device to record your family dinner table convos and upload them to the Library of Congress?
Yeah, I'd rather. I would. There are so many things I'd rather do than have that in my house.
So it's like you're going to be able to get a FOIA request for just like anybody's.
Yeah, for
get,
everyone's
like,
dining discussions. Yeah, it's interesting because I think we suspected that this kind of next stage of surveillance would maybe come through some of the familiar faces, like potentially Palantir, something I hear a lot about. But I did not suspect the sauce industry would be
The sauce
spearheading.
Before Palantir, right? Like what?
Yeah,
It's
that's
interesting.
insane.
If
Now,
you had that on your bingo card, you're a liar.
there is that pasta brand that has the Spotify playlist for how long it takes to cook your pasta, though.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that
That's
one I'm
smart.
okay with.
That's
That
smart.
that I vibe with. It's like titled with whatever
I'm not
kind of
mad
pasta.
at it. Yeah.
I wonder if what they
Okay.
did was like they just sent somebody into like a lab and said, okay, cook a plate of pasta, and they timed it, and then they just went looking for like
Probably.
the correct amount of songs.
Well, yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
like get that playlist. And it's always obscure stuff I've never heard too. So you're like,
Does that have to be like the exact numbers?
Yeah,
the exact amount of
exactly.
seconds to make it work.
yeah.
All right, guys. So as I said, hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. What are we getting into today? We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We are going to talk about MrBeast. It's not MrBeast necessarily specifically, but it's like MrBeast Inc. MrBeast the corporation is once again coming under fire for harassment claims. There's this whole story about an ex-employee and paternity leave. It's maternity leave. It's very, very interesting. So we will talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the possibility, and I do stress the words possibility because it's not proven, that there are people at Paramount who are very suspect of Netflix right now, who believe that they are trying to illegally like get involved and prevent the merger of Warner Bros. And Paramount, which is very, very interesting. A company like Netflix has a large amount of lobbying power. So we'll talk about those articles. We're also talking about Bruce Springsteen, who's just a big fat hypocrite. And if everybody here on this channel knows how much I dislike Bob Dylan, it's not my fault you guys have horrible taste and you like Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is garbage. That's fine. You can like him. Bruce Springsteen is another thing. I actually don't hate all of Bruce Springsteen's songs, but I don't go out of my way to listen to him. But he is one of those dudes who's just an over-the-top, ridiculous hypocrite because he's supposed to speak for the common man, while the ticket prices for his concerts just climb higher and higher.
The No Kings tour, is that what it is?
Yes.
The No Kings
he's
tour.
selling like $90 No Kings
Oh,
posters.
yeah.
Did you
I'm
hear
excited
that
to get
song
into
he
it.
did?
The one like Streets of Minneapolis or whatever. So we will talk about Bob Dylan. Well, we can do that too. We'll talk about Bruce Springsteen, but we can talk about Bob Dylan if somebody wants to. I don't know why you'd want to, but we can. So we will talk about that. We're also going to talk. Ben Affleck did a podcast and has this very interesting video where he's talking about the economics of Hollywood. And I know that sounds boring to a lot of you guys, but I do find it fascinating what it costs to get a movie made, why so few of them are profiting these days, and also it kind of ties in with this really funny article, by funny you mean morbid, about how The Simpsons got there's going to be a Simpsons movie, a new one. If anybody remembers the old Simpsons movies back in the day, they're making a new Simpsons movie, and they got a $21 million tax credit to film in California. I don't know how you film a Simpsons movie in California, but it goes without saying.
Hey, we're bringing movies home.
Yes, we're trying to. So we're going to talk about
Let's
that.
go.
We got a bunch of other stuff. If everybody's ready to go, we can go. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Good?
So ready.
Good?
I'm ready.
Go for it then.
All right. So MrBeast is having a former employee alleging there is workplace harassment. We have it from New York Post. A former Beast Industries employee is suing MrBeast production company after she was allegedly fired from her social media manager job upon returning from maternity leave and following years of what she has described as sexual harassment and workplace gender bias. Of course. In the lawsuit filed by Lorraine oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to call her Lorraine.
I said Mavromatis, but I could be wrong.
No idea.
Yeah.
She filed in federal court in North Carolina on Wednesday. She has accused both MrBeast YouTube LLC and Game Changer 24/7 LLC of violating federal law that entitles eligible employees to take unpaid job-protected leave for qualifying family and medical reasons, including childbirth. She said in her complaint that she was also filing with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for discrimination based on sex, pregnancy, and retaliation. She claims that she worked nonstop following her baby's birth, as well as she being in the delivery room. She said, "I was bleeding and I just had to show up."
I'm picturing like she's like giving birth and sending a Slack message.
She's
someone.
like on her laptop
Yeah.
and like giving birth. Like there's like a table. Yeah. She said that less than 3 weeks after she returned to full time, she was fired. Her position was eliminated, according to a spokesperson for MrBeast, when the new head of e-commerce reorganized her team. So,
Which sounds plausible. Like
poor
to me.
timing, maybe. I mean, you're pregnant for 9 months, right? Like it could have been in the works.
I did laugh at the fact that the official response from a MrBeast spokesperson called it clout chasing.
Oh,
which
yeah,
just
we're gonna get into
feels
that,
like a
too.
very Gen Z term to
Yup.
add in your legalese.
Like we have from Dexerto here, says that she also claimed that there was an exchange with a former CEO that led her to believe that MrBeast was masturbating in the workplace.
That is a hell of a claim.
Doesn't he like live in the same warehouse? So technically, anytime he does it would be at work.
He's like, look, I wasn't at work.
He had a bedroom like at his warehouse at one point. And he was like literally living there. There was like a whole video about it. So technically,
He's like, look,
but if he was off the clock,
He's like, between 9 to 5, I'm at work.
Yeah.
He actually
But
was talking about how
at 12:30, I go in the back and unleash the
I take a
beast.
break,
Okay,
yeah.
like I just
I take a break.
it's a schedule.
In a statement, a spokesperson said the complaint contains deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and claimed Beast Industries has extensive evidence that refutes it. This clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and we have the receipts to prove it, they said. There's extensive evidence, including Slack and WhatsApp messages, company documents, and written testimony that unequivocally refutes her claims. We will not submit to opportunistic lawyers looking to manufacture a payday from us. So we have a screenshot here.
Yeah, we don't know whether this is like this was
Accurate,
from
like, I don't
Puberty
know.
posted this. It says MrBeast team has re-released alleged messages disputing claims by a former employee who said she was forced to work during maternity leave.
Yeah, you have the top being basically her talking about something about Brazil and like people being in Brazil. She's like, I have to cancel our appointment and postpone. I'm actually in the hospital. He said, of course. Hee hee, which made me want to die, but that's okay. Hee hee, amazing. You shouldn't even be checking Slack now, LOL. Sending a big hug and lots of success. That doesn't sound like someone who wants her to work from the labor and delivery ward.
Well,
you
I don't
know?
know, like, is this the type of thing where they just expect it to kind of be a payday? Like they're gonna, because that is pretty common amongst big corporations, right? Like, they just want to make it go away.
They just settle.
They just settle because they want to make it go away.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, look, I am somebody that's very weary of any of these allegations that come out to begin with, especially when they say something like MrBeast was masturbating on the job. That automatically raises a couple red flags for me. And then you see the messages. Now, again,
Wait,
those,
does it raise red flags just because it seems so ridiculous?
it's akin to the Me Too movement, which has made me skeptical of every single claim that comes out that is even remotely sexual.
Like when it seems like over the top of believability, it's
well,
just
yeah,
like, look,
and
I don't
also
know.
like I feel like that would have been a bigger story if that had actually happened. Like it wouldn't just be one person saying that. This comes on the heels of what's her face, Pensino. Can never think of her name.
Is it Roseanne Pensino? Yeah.
Roseanne Pensino. Yeah. Pensino is her last name, who had a lot of complaints about working for MrBeast. But the way I saw that story was that she lost Beast Games and was like super pissed off about it and thought she didn't get enough camera time. Like it was more of a vanity thing, in my opinion, the way that I saw it. I could be wrong there. It could have just been actual something going on, but I don't know. Like everyone else that has gone on MrBeast, I mean, there's a guy now who is more in the right wing sphere. Is it Sean Hendricks, I think is his name? And he said nothing but good things about MrBeast, and he used to do the competitions.
I mean, once you reach a certain level of fame, you're going to have those types of
He's got freaking candy named after him in the 7-Eleven.
He's obvious.
I mean, he's up there. He's he's a mark.
Look at how he smiles, though. He's obviously a crazy person.
Well, just because the smile
Crazy,
is,
it
not
doesn't reach
stupid.
the eyes. His
Yeah,
eyes
it's
don't smile.
It's physiognomy.
Crazy, not stupid, though. It's one of those
he's a
situations.
genius.
Crazy,
That's-
not stupid. I don't think this guy's gonna risk his entire empire to go MrBeast in the back. Like, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I don't know.
It's Rosanna Pansino. That's who
he's like, I wasn't masturbating, I was masturbeasting.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's such a psycho. He'll probably brand that.
Like,
too.
I would love it. Like, he has like an ex that comes out. He's like, and every time he grabbed me, he said, I'm about to unleash the beast.
I'm about to unleash the beast.
Ladies, it's officially no longer masturbating. It's now beasterbating or masterbeasting, whatever you want to call it.
Masterbeasting is incredible, by the way.
I saw somebody who
love
said
that.
MrBeast should be banned because all his games are the same.
You can't ban
that's
someone
fair.
just because it's repetitive content.
don't like 'em.
That's like saying Tim IRL covers current events every night, and it always ends up in Tim either talking about AI or whatever other thing he's on that day, so it should be banned.
Yeah, but
just
you
like,
won't see those people calling to ban Sophie Rain.
True, and it's probably this. I mean, I don't
do kind of like
partake,
the
but-
growing political philosophy of just like, if I personally don't like it, it should be banned. As long as I'm dictating it. As long as I'm dictating terms.
So is this like your presidential run in like 30 years? You're like,
you just vote
now
for
you're
whoever
doing
has the
this?
best taste.
Okay,
So like the best tastemaker will end up
Okay.
winning. So
Wait,
someone
are
say
you-
MrBeast that's slop?
Wait, is he running? Did I miss that?
I
Or was he
guess we're.
talking-
I guess we're now.
Still
Did you
We're-
just announce your
away,
candidacy?
still-
Because I would totally
Look, 20,
love to be
30
your
years.
VP.
I have 10 years
Got
to
you.
avoid any felony charges, and I should be able to run.
All right. I mean,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
looking
you're
at
still a
cabinet
baby.
positions
Shit.
right here.
Well,
Like,
hey, I could run first. You could VP for me, and then we'll do the whole
Can you
Obama
get a
Biden
Department of Gooning?
seat swap thing.
So we
Yeah.
could do Department of Gooning and put MrBeast in charge.
That could be interesting.
Well, that's not the Department of Gooning. That's the Department of Beasting. Master Beasting.
True.
There's a 20 here from Weary Traveler 1. Says, I never say the one. I
don't know why you just said that.
Says, have you, y'all, Brett, seen the Clayface trailer yet? Thoughts? I have not watched it yet. I want to watch it on a big screen
I have not.
when I get home.
I have not.
But I did see the posts about it last night. I'm cautiously optimistic about something different, though I don't think it's going to be like the way I see it. If it turns out to be really good, and you get a DC-based horror movie, like the best case scenario is that it's like a better version of a Sony Marvel Spider-Man movie, which are not really Spider-Man movies because there's no Spider-Man in them. Could it be good? Yeah, I do believe it could, but I don't think it's going to financially save the DCU right now, and we're kind of keeping our eyes towards Supergirl. And I have been seeing more reports that they have drastically increased the amount that Superman shows up in Supergirl, so we'll have to wait and see for all that. But maybe I'll do a short about Clayface later.
You mean they're not just leaving it on Millie Adcott's
no
fame?
No,
to draw in. They're
House
not
of the
banking?
Dragon wasn't enough
Yeah,
to
they're not
carry
banking.
it for that. So, look, Mr. Beast, I did see some other people saying, like, he started out as a guy who did a lot of philanthropy, and then he went and basically turned into Jigsaw. That's not entirely true because he still has his philanthropy channels.
But he did separate it from his normal content.
I mean, that was for tax purposes, I'm sure, more than anything. But the point is like, even when he would do the philanthropy, everybody get mad at him.
Yeah, how dare he
You
cure
can't win.
blindness or
Like
something.
you can't win if you're him because he had to give it a thumbnail that was like, we cured 10 people's blood. And they're like, actually, what you did wasn't curing anything. Like the way you play the game on YouTube is different than.
And also, like, there was like the water wells or whatever in Africa. People got really bent out of shape about that one. And then people saying, why is a YouTuber doing more than our government? And I'm like, he's literally going to Africa. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, the average conservative would love that because they love the idea of charity being the
I mean, no,
path
I'm not
forward.
saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that's what I see online is people are like, how dare he, do this instead of our government? I'm like,
what are you guys'
like you're
general
complaining?
thoughts? So Mr. Beast for me, the content never interested me, but that's fine. It was never targeted at me. I kind of aged out of his content. I actually did find this stuff interesting when it was like going into the supermarket and buying as much as you can or whatever. Like that was kind of interesting for a day. Yeah. But like what I feel like we've devolved into as a culture is like then you get to like the kick streaming and the guy who was trying to live in complete darkness for like a month. Did you see that?
Yeah,
like
it's bad.
Like it's all kind of bread and circuses in a lot of ways, and that's fine. It's just he's not my type of bread and circuses.
Yeah, it was kind of like a slop gateway, I think, was the issue with Mr. Beast.
He is, however, the perfect example of somebody who took internet fame and monetized it into a worldwide brand.
Yeah,
that's very
yeah.
true.
Like I mean, I do think he's probably a crazy person, but like all of these guys that are on the forefront of new like social developments
they
are
be
always
sane?
crazy people.
Yeah,
so it's
fucking
like
lunatics,
and it's kind of the people that line up that like his most vocal opponents are people that like I vehemently disagree with on basically everything. So I think that does indicate something that they're seeing inside of Mr. Beast that they hate.
What do you mean by that?
Like to her point with the curing the blindness or the wells, it was like the most of the people that had a big problem with it were like pretty left-wing types. So that maybe indicates because like Mr. Beast only exists because of like the excesses of capitalism, but in this instance it's actually quite beneficial because he's actually providing a resource back, which is entertainment. And I think his stuff's primarily for children anyway. So
it's like younger. Like I mean, we would technically be target audience as Gen Z, and I still think we're kind of aged up from that.
I think I've watched like 3
target
of his videos
audience
in
for
my
people
life.
that like are on the show.
I remember
like
when
he would
used to
go
make-
for that age range for contestants for those shows.
Yeah.
but he
there
wants
were
those
people
shows
that
to
were
appeal to a
about
younger
our age.
audience
like,
as
he's
well.
my age.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast is my age.
I remember when he made like back when he had no subscribers or very minimal subscribers, and he was making these like cringe Minecraft intro reviews.
Yeah.
I remembered watching him like way back then.
You're
and
a day
then-
one.
Yeah,
You're
and then he
one.
like I remembered him popping back up like a few years later doing his like crazy. I remember he started doing the stunts. He's like, I count to 1 million on live stream, and it takes him like a day to do, but he counts like 1 million.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly got more and more crazy. But like I've tracked his evolution this entire time. But no, I mean I do think he probably is like a crazy person, but again that's not like a reason to hate someone because like Steve
Right.
Jobs is a crazy person.
True.
Yeah, like,
True.
What did you think about the Tim Cook? This is such an aside, but what did you think about the Tim Cook retirement?
I think he people get onto Tim Cook because he didn't really pioneer any new products. I think that's the primary.
Because he was a
complaint.
shipping and the logistics. I was reading
Exactly.
about him, and it was just kind of fascinating. To
His
me.
job wasn't to be the next Steve Jobs. His job was to sort of take what Steve Jobs had built and then grow that in and of itself, so grow the business. So he was kind of the holdover. And then this new guy, from what I've heard about him, not many people don't know a lot, but he was kind of on the forefront of a lot of product development at Apple. So maybe sort of Tim Cook was the guy that, and he did a very good job. I mean, the stakeholders are very
It
happy
did
with
kind of
his
feel like one of
performance.
those like, hey, the president died, the VP's the president now, just finish out the term kind of
Well, no,
situations with him
from what
for a
I
while.
understand, that because Jobs was already sick.
Yeah,
and
he'd
then
already picked him out.
And he'd already picked him out because he had had several like long-term absences because of treatments or whatever.
Yeah, you have to look at like, okay, how did the market react when Steve Jobs died? How did the tech markets react? How did the people that are interested in these types of things react, everyone was worried about Apple.
Yeah.
And so Tim Cook was a very careful, calculated pick from Steve Jobs, because he knew, okay, this guy's not going to invent the next iPhone, but
he'll
he's
manage
going
the
to
company.
ensure that Apple not just survives, but thrives. And he
Thrives.
did an excellent job
It would
at that.
almost be like if Elon was to step down, he would have to pick somebody who's so drastically different from him as like a front-facing person for his brand, where he's a large-scale idea guy and somebody who gets his message out through his own, he's a front-facing person. I mean, not all CEOs, but most CEOs have to be front-facing to some extent, because they have to be able to stand up in front of a boardroom. They have to be able to stand up at like earnings calls and explain why things are going the way they're going. So they need to be charismatic to a certain extent to people in business. But that's very different from like, Elon is a different type of charismatic, and Steve Jobs was a different type of charismatic. So there was no way that whoever they hired to replace Steve Jobs was going to be somebody who was going to be just like him, because otherwise it would feel like you're going to be compared to him across the board. Go someplace differently entirely and pick somebody who can focus on a different aspect of the business that they need to grow.
Well, too, and Jobs probably had the capability of actually physically naming his successor too, with how much he had. This guy probably doesn't have obviously the same situation. I don't know, but I would think that if Jobs made that decision, it's because he was 100% confident in the fact that this guy could carry the torch. But it's. Do we know who they're bringing in next?
It was like
John?
I read the name.
John guy?
It was like some software guy, I think, or something, like someone that he had basically picked. I think the reason that people get
John Turnus.
Turnus something.
Yeah, he's not a known quantity in like the tech world, but within Apple he was like acclaimed. So
we have a 20 from Tyrone the big black cat. I see you. He said happy early birthday, get some chicken nuggets. I was telling them that I won't be on tomorrow, but tomorrow's my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
See, normally it's
and
us wishing other people happy birthday.
And I was telling them I want chicken nuggets in the chat because someone brought them up, and I was like, well, now I want chicken nuggets. So this might have to be a on the way home situation.
Well, yeah, we're not going to do that tomorrow. We're not going to have like chicken nuggets for your birthday dinner, unless that's what you really want.
What is your preferred, if you're going fast food, what is your preferred chicken nugget
McDonald's.
source? McDonald's.
Yeah.
Is it because of the sauces or the actual nugget itself?
Both.
Okay.
I prefer the ranch from McDonald's with a McDonald's chicken nugget. I won't eat a different ranch. It's really weird. I'm picky. I've got like a thing.
He's about to go to bat for Wendy's. I can see it on his face.
No.
That's a very
Wendy's
valid.
is number 2. Wendy's is number 2. If I can't go to McDonald's, I go to Wendy's for chicken nuggets instead.
Well, I've always said Chick-fil-A is the best, and I don't think I'm crazy. I think the nuggets have gotten smaller.
Yes.
I'm like, my hands have gotten bigger since I first started eating them, but I'm genuinely convinced that again the nugget size has shrunk, and I think it's probably something to do with inflation.
All right, guys, let's move on. We've got more stuff to talk about today. So we're gonna keep these things moving here. All right, let's talk about Netflix. Let's talk about Paramount. Let's talk about Warner Brothers. So as you know, Warner Brothers was sold to Paramount. That deal was actually just today approved by the people on the Warner all of the Warner Brothers shareholders unanimously. I don't know if it's unanimous. Approved the deal to go through. They did not approve the David Zaslav golden parachute. Thank you. I gotta restart. Put them back. There we go. That was one of your like quieter ones, right?
Yeah,
there.
I went really hardcore on Tuesday when it was just us. Now that there's other
threw your
people,
back out.
now that there's other people in the room, I'm a little more like, do I do that? Like I was full wacky inflatable tube guy, arms in the air on Tuesday. Maybe if you guys get us another one, I will go full.
You gotta be like one of the women with like a live journal back in the day where it said like dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah,
great.
great.
All right, let's go and reel it back. Let's start from scratch again. So Warner Brothers has been sold to Paramount. That deal has gone through, at least as far as the shareholders are concerned. They have approved that deal. We have no idea if it will end up getting regulatory approval. That is certainly something we're going to talk about today. But the shareholders have said, yes, we do want to do this. They said no to the David Zaslav golden parachute exit package as CEO. But now what is very interesting about this is that it looks like Netflix is being accused of trying to get involved, like a jealous ex-girlfriend. They can't let go because they weren't able to secure the deal with Warner Brothers, and are supposedly trying to meddle in this procedure to stop the deal from going through. I'm going to put this up on screen so everybody can see what it is. This is from Culture Crave. Netflix has reportedly been meddling in the regulatory review of the Warner Brothers and Paramount merger. Netflix has quietly been shopping for public affairs operatives to help oppose or slow the deal down. A senior government official says that he's surprised how aggressive Netflix has been with them, and that the Ellisons will owe Warner Brothers shareholders $650 million per quarter if the deal closes after September 30th. So I guess before we get into all of this, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on in general, because you guys all have backgrounds in different areas. Like, what are your thoughts on the concept of this type of business consolidation? Because certainly, even if you're in the political space right now, you can speak to the idea of a news corporation falling under another corporate umbrella.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like having too much power under like one person or one entity. That's why you have, like, if we relate it to the government, the separation of powers, that's why you have it. So there's not all of this power put onto one person or one thing like the presidency. You have to separate it. Also, I like having the options. As much as I hate paying for all the different streaming services, that really sucks. I do appreciate the fact that there are going to be different products coming from them because they're not all consolidated under one. Kind of like, Disney owning all these things, and you're like, you kind of know.
Well, what's funny is, like, we have Disney Plus and Hulu, because you guys have Disney, like, your family has Disney Plus.
Yeah, my brother loves Disney Plus.
I love Hulu, so we have both, but eventually it's all going to be on one app. We have Paramount Plus, but we do not have we don't have HBO Max.
We don't, or Netflix. Well, technically my family has Netflix, but there's like that weird thing where it's like, you're not in the same household, and I'm like, shut up.
Dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, great, thanks. And so I always have to, like, it's on my stepmom's phone, and so I always have to, like, be like, hey, it sent you a text message. Can you give it the okay? And then we'll be good for like a month, and then it'll just do the same thing again.
So here's the information about the approval of the deal. Let's put this up on screen here. This is from Variety. It says Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders overwhelmingly approve Paramount mega deal, but vote against pay packages for Zaslav and other execs. As expected, Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders gave the green light to Paramount Skydance's $111 billion deal to acquire the media company, moving David Ellison one step closer to controlling a new Hollywood empire. But investors were not okay with the lavish golden parachute to CEO David Zaslav. First of all, that's like symbolic. They can still give it to him. They're just basically saying, we don't want to do it, but the company can still give that to him. This is a guy who carved out the deal and made it possible. Loath as I am to admit, he did exactly what I believe he was brought in to do, which was to shave off, cut the fat at the company so that they could eventually be sold off. It says at a special meeting of Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders on Thursday morning, which was held virtually, investors voted overwhelmingly in favor of the Paramount deal, comprising of $31 per share in cash for Warner Brothers. It was dealing at numbers so much lower than that just a year ago, so it kind of speaks to the business prowess here. It says, however, a majority of Warner Brothers shareholders voted against the compensation packages for Zaslav and other named executives in connection with the merger. It's purely a symbolic rebuke. The shareholder advisory vote is non-binding, meaning that Warner Brothers Discovery's board can go ahead with the payouts as planned anyways, but it shows Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders aren't happy by the generous payments to the company's outgoing executive team, and comes after shareholders last year voted against the Warner Brothers Discovery compensation packages. It's all up in the air for all this stuff. Who would you rather you have seen them go with, Paramount or Netflix?
For sure, Paramount.
Yeah,
Just for political purposes.
Yeah, I think they made the right choice, unfortunately, for Netflix.
Well,
the whole like jaded girlfriend thing is kind of whack, but I mean, I get it. Like, screw you. We're going to make this painful.
Netflix is like, look, they just paid us $2.8 billion in the cancellation fees for this deal. We're going to use that $2.8 billion
to mudslink.
To mudslink.
I mean, this is the natural order of things, though. This is the food chain, right? It's this is why these kinds of things, and I know they get annoying to see, but is why these kinds of things, these acquisitions are so important to watch, is because this is the slow ticking time bomb pointing us back towards everything becoming a company store.
What do you mean?
So I think just with the natural progression of things, the way that this works, right? Big fish keeps eating little fish until biggest fish in pond, no little fish around, right? I mean, we keep going to these mergers. The way that this is going to keep happening with everything is the guy on top is going to buy everything up underneath and become the one in charge. He wants to be the provider, right? 9 times out of 10.
It feels like somewhere along the line, like the American dream. Like when I think of the American dream, and you can kind of call me crazy if it if it goes that way. But I used to think of the American dream in the context of a business is the guy who starts his own plumbing company, or the guy who starts his own HVAC company or construction company, right? Maybe they didn't go to a 4-year college, but they were good with their hands. And that business sense that they built came firsthand from, seeing how the business worked. It wasn't somebody who went to like an Ivy League university and got this, great on paper education. How often do you hear about people who teach at business school not really having any business sense anymore? But now,
they let OnlyFans girls go and lecture now.
Well, I mean, that's a sideshow.
Unrelated.
But the point being is, and we kind of got into this the last time I was on IRL about whether private equity is bad, and it became a discussion about like, is it communist or not to like oppose private equity? And I don't believe that it's necessarily communist to say that there is very clear evidence that when private equity gets involved with certain business structures, things end up going badly. And to reel it back to I think healthcare is one of the best examples of that. Care quality goes down, all of that stuff. But to pull it back to what I was saying is like, it used to be that the American dream would have been, a house, white picket fence, 2.5 kids, maybe you start your own business and you pass that business along to your kids. Now what it seems like is you have the house, maybe you have one kid because nobody's, we're below replacement rates. And instead of you passing the business on to your kids, you get bought out by a larger entity.
Yeah. I mean, Ellison's in a weird spot because he's trying to buy up as much of this market as he possibly can without triggering antitrust laws, because he's not really worried about it while Trump's in office. But if the Democrats come back in, they're going to absolutely come after him. I mean, Ellison's been
that's why he wants to get it done, but they have to get it done before that.
Yeah, he's got to get it done now. And, I mean, because Ellison got a target on his back after 2020, he was, stirring the pot, advocating for Republican policies. He's always been kind of a neutral guy. He's donated to Democrats and Republicans throughout his career.
I mean, the best businessmen usually do. Right, the ones that spread the money around, because this was being said about Tim Cook, who donated to the SPLC, who we just saw everything that happened with the SPLC, but also donated to the Trump campaign from his own private, it wasn't Apple funds, but he donated to them privately. So the best businessmen, and David Zaslav said this, the other person involved here, basically when they asked him at one of these like Aspen retreats, they're always going to these Aspen retreats.
Yeah. It's always Aspen too.
And they've got their vest, they've got their Patagonia vest on or whatever. And they asked him basically who he wanted to be president. He's like, Trump is pro merger and acquisition.
Yeah.
Therefore, he
He's
seems
a
like
businessman.
he seems like a good pick there. And I reject the idea where they're talking about how this merger will kill jobs. Yes, it's going to kill jobs that are doubled up at the corporation. Absolutely. But what is the other option here, that you let Warner Brothers flounder and then the jobs are laid off and then the company perhaps shutters anyways or gets sold off in parts to other companies?
Yeah, and I think Larry Ellison reminds me a lot of Trump in some ways, where Tim Cook, not so much. I think Tim Cook, at his core, you don't have to really dig too deep to realize he is left-wing.
Yes.
But, he knows how to play ball. He's a businessman. He's got to get things done. He has a friendly relationship with Trump somewhat. But Larry Ellison actually reminds me of Trump in two instances. One is, he clearly, views the Republicans as a more viable political vehicle for whatever his ambitions are, whether that be political, whether that be business-related. Because he's not a conventional Republican. He's kind of like Trump. He's been married a bunch of times, like socially doesn't really carry himself like you would expect a sort of religious conservative to. So he reminds me of Trump in that aspect, where he just views everything as purely pragmatic. And then he also reminds me of Trump because Larry Ellison is the analog where Trump was never sort of part of that East Coast elite. He was always kind of seen as an outsider. He was othered, but he is kind of this media spectacle. But he never truly felt kind of accepted by sort of the East Coast elite. Larry Ellison's the West Coast analog, where Larry Ellison, undeniable wealth, Oracle, et cetera, et cetera. But he's always kind of been on the outside of like the whole Silicon Valley clique that there is. And you can even like read into, there's a lot of these tech types that have always had an axe to grind with Larry Ellison, whether it be the way he carries himself or whether it be with his business practices.
Which is weird because he is a tech guy.
He is a tech guy, and Trump in the same way would fit the mold of a East Coast elite, but for whatever reason, whether it be personality clashes or practices, et cetera, he was never sort of brought into that sphere. Larry Ellison's the West Coast analog, where he was never seen as like, this purely like Forbes, up and coming, da-da-da-da. He's always been kind of othered, and he's always been kind of an eccentric guy. So I think that's Larry Ellison and Trump. I think they kind of just have gravitated towards each other purely because they're quite similar, actually, if you look at their story and dispensation and these sorts of things. Disposition, rather.
They get into this article about Puck, and from Puck News, and I'll give you a little bit more information. It says, Gardner's report states that that state attorneys general are increasingly expected to take a closer look at the Paramount Warner Bros. Discovery merger, especially after recent legal wins, including Live Nation. Like, a lot of people think that Ari Emanuel basically just called up Trump and was like, squash it, whatever, because it feels like Live Nation is constantly being sued all the time for what do you call it, like predatory ticket practices, stuff like that.
Yeah, they kind of suck.
Yeah, so it says per the report from California Attorney General Rob, is it Bonta? In the California attorney, is it Bonta? Is already said to be scouting for outside counsel, which suggests that the push could get serious very fast. And there is a whole block the merger campaign, which I think the last time you guys was on went from 2,000 to 3,000. Now apparently 4,000 actors and people within Hollywood have signed this, basic call to block this merger from going through. What I find most interesting is that some of them are split on the news aspect of it. The ones who are the most politically inclined are split on the news aspect of it and say, I don't want our news controlled by oligarchs, as if the news in this country hasn't always been controlled by oligarchs. But then the other ones are more concerned about the job side of things. This is what Ben Stiller had to say. He said, let me put it up on the screen here. There we go. Says there are already very few buyers out there. Original ideas and non-legacy IP is extremely hard to get made by a major studio or network. The winnowing down of choices results in less opportunities for new voices and diverse viewpoints in what we are all given the opportunity to see. It's already been challenging for years, and this merger will only make things worse. Well, to that, I've, as a lot of people have said, like, where were you when Disney bought Fox? Which was a massive corporation, or when Disney bought Pixar, or when Disney bought Marvel, or when Disney bought Star Wars, or any of these other companies. That was that was Bob Iger's legacy, was not creating new characters, but buying up characters from popular IP and other corporations. So I think a lot of people just see that as a form of hypocrisy.
We have a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie who said, I just get annoyed with private equity sometimes. Become corporate, I think even because
chop shop,
they become corporate chop shops that buy companies cheap, then sell them off for parts at a profit. Look at the plot of the movie Wall Street and Gecko breaking up Blue Star Airlines.
Yeah, it's that's I always this is where I feel like the most confronted as somebody who's like, I can't say that I want government involved in business, right? Like, somebody was mentioning the other day, what was it? Who was the one that was going to buy Spirit Airlines was going to buy JetBlue or whatever,
something like that,
and
or
then
the other way,
or was it the other way around? But the point is, like, the government
say, where'd Spirit find the money to buy JetBlue?
but
where to find money?
The point is, the government blocked it, and within a year they went bankrupt. Or something like that. And getting the government involved is almost always universally bad. But at the same time, I see consistently that quality, when it comes to companies, once they get bought out by private equity, seems to be always almost universally worse.
Well, a lot of these guys are on their last leg, basically, when they're going to market looking for this kind of thing anyway, right? I mean, otherwise you're not even listening to offers. You're hell-bent on growing your company and making it successful. The second that stops, you're kind of making it public that you're trying to get the hell out of there. That's, when the sharks come. And this happens everywhere. This kind of shit happens with mortgages, man. Like, people are betting on things to fail now. That's the world that we're in. They want things to fail. They want to make it look like they're investing in your future, but they want your future to fail.
Yep.
And that's where they come up big.
Yep. All right. What would you guys like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
I went really easy on the cringe today.
We're gonna show.
I made him a bet on Tuesday. If they got a certain number of crisis parties, I'd go easy on them, and they did barely. And so I was
You've been getting so cringe that the community is actually like trying.
There's
to
a couple people that actively are not.
They're
but I told them I would go
Drop them to
easy
their
on them.
knees.
And then Instagram wasn't working.
Yeah, this is 2 days in a row. It's like you broke the cringe on Instagram. It wouldn't let me play videos yesterday, and it wouldn't let me play them today. But this was the cringe that she sent me initially. I'm gonna play.
Is it working?
No. The
don't
X
play.
one.
Don't play that one.
Do you want to play the X one?
Mean.
Okay. We'll hey, you were the one who sent it.
I just needed something from X.
You'll have to explain this photo to people if indeed you want to call it cringe. Who is this now?
She's a representative, I believe, from California, and
she's like 100 years old.
I know, and she has purple hair, which is why it's so bad.
It says the face TMZ sees when they learn about appropriations.
So yeah, there was like this trend of being like, oh, the face TMZ sees when they do this or that, and so she wanted to jump on the trend, which it's really cringy when like anyone in Congress tries to jump on a trend to begin with. So this is Rosa DeLauro, and she's Connecticut. Okay, Connecticut. Okay. I thought she was from California. I knew it was a C state. Again, it's really not that bad. I said I'd go easy on you guys, but the angle, the purple hair, the sunglasses, the peace sign, the caption, it's all horribly cringe.
How do you guys feel about TMZ in DC?
I love it.
I think it's like dropping a lion in a sheep's den, because like, you know, LA, they've sort of realized how to navigate in and around journalists, how to navigate in and around the sort of paparazzi scoops, you know, etc. DC, like little tiny publications pick up scoops all the time. So dropping TMZ in DC, I mean, it almost feels cruel.
There seemed like
everyone's gonna be gay.
Almost.
There was stories.
Half of Congress is gonna be gay by the end of the year.
Yep.
There was stories about like TMZ offering up to $100,000 for like valid tips to people.
It's
like
insane.
those, you know, those bouncers at the clubs and the bartenders are going to be very rich very soon, and they've got no tax on tips now. So
Yep. And don't worry, guys, I will be back on Tuesday with
more cringe.
diabolical cringe. I mean, it's actually going to be double as bad as normal because I took a break from the diabolical.
Well,
cringe.
theoretically, if we get to 3 crisis parties again, they could also get a lenient cringe. No,
that was a one day and one day only bet.
All right.
Okay, not happening.
It really wasn't that cringy. That was really.
That's what I'm saying. I went easy.
The
but
equivalency
also,
of seeing like a zombie on not Halloween.
But then Instagram
like,
was like down, and so the one I wanted to use.
I might just have to like log out and log back in.
Yeah, like the one
I'll
I
check
wanted to
tomorrow.
use, it still wasn't as bad. It was still bad, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what I normally.
It was not.
It was not, but it was still in the same vein, right?
All right, let's do cue to the day.
Okay.
This one is from Corey. He submitted this. He asked to make sure that it got featured. It says the homie Rizzo and his eggplant plushie.
I forgot about
5
Rizzo.
minutes after this photo, it was destroyed.
We talked about Rizzo. Actually, we talked about.
Oh, he's got 2 different color eyes.
Yes, he's like you.
Yes.
We talked about him on whatever day you submitted him. We were actually sitting here talking about him off air. Look how cute. Oh, the
that's
puppy.
probably one of those situations. You know, where the old school thing where you put like the bone in the dog's nose, but you make him wait, and he just sits there staring at it. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God,
they were like,
I'm
get
gonna
it, and then
destroy
he
this goddamn
just-
thing the second I get a chance
Yeah.
to. I guarantee you that's what that was.
All right,
So
thank you
cute.
for that, Corey. And remember, guys, if you want to submit your pets for PCC on X with the hashtag PCC Pets. All right, let's talk about the hypocrisy of Bob. I hate Bob Dylan so much. I want the topic to be about.
I was like, I thought we weren't going to go full Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
What happened?
Never go full Bob Dylan. Bruce Springsteen.
Let's talk about the hypocrisy of Bruce Springsteen, the definition of a champagne socialist, or I guess a limousine liberal.
Yes. So Bruce Springsteen is now under fire. There's a journalist and a food and culture editor for a New Jersey publication named Bob Olivier, I believe is how it's pronounced. Bobby Olivier, who was basically just wrote this whole article to take a massive dump on Bruce Springsteen. He said that Springsteen's artistic identity as a bleeding heart populist who sings for the destitute and downtrodden has never been more disconnected from his economic behavior as a touring act or businessman. Tickets cost up to $2,900 retail for best seats in Newark. I can never do that one. Newark. Prices he agreed to despite backlash. He's selling No Kings branded flags for $90 in the arena concourse, Olivier says of Springsteen. And last week, his merchandise distributor got an injunction passed to ban bootleg t-shirt sales outside of the venue, even as crews of independent sellers, fine examples of work-classing people that he has romanticized for over 50 years, are just trying to make an honest dollar.
It's like having a libertarian talk to you about copyright law.
No, literally. And then it continues on and says that Springsteen brought his anti-Trump tirades to new heights in February when he announced his Land of Hope and Dreams America tour. Fans lucky or wealthy enough to score these tickets have been beaten over the head with the same speech every show. He says, the America I've wrote about, which it should say written, but whatever, I've wrote about for 50 years that has been a beacon of hope and liberty around the world is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, racist, reckless, and treasonous administration. Ugh. Cut me a break here, dude. And it's starting to wear people out. They don't want to do it anymore. He said the unrecognizable, this is the journalist now, said the unrecognizable reality of 2026 Springsteen experience, coupled with this tour's political framing, it's an exploitation of American division, and it is a lapse in logic. But I did want to quickly tell you guys what Trump has to say about Springsteen. I almost didn't include this, but it was too funny not to. Earlier in the month, Trump said Springsteen is a, quote, dried up prune who has suffered greatly from the work of a really bad plastic surgeon.
I mean, kind of
Get him, Donnie.
from far away. He kind of looks like a mixture of Rachel Maddow and Joe Biden.
Yeah, no, a little bit. Yeah, and look,
And then somebody else said like aging Megan Rapinoe.
Oh,
an aging lesbian's crazy work.
Megan Rapinoe already looks like aging Megan Rapinoe.
That is
How does
fair.
that work? Like,
Very
if
fair.
we're being serious here.
Even like ancient, you know.
This is king and peasant's clothing, dude.
Okay, so then I guess that's the discussion I want to have, which is that one of the things that conservatives tend to harp on is like right now it's going on with Hassan talking about like the rich don't have to follow the rules. Why should I? It's like, bro, you're the rich.
Literally.
And the difference is that the average conservative is really, really pro making your own money and making a living for yourself. But that's with the understanding that you're not going to shame other people for making money and having a career of their own. Whereas Bruce Springsteen, speaks about the downtrodden, but nobody can afford his tickets unless you're literally not the downtrodden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on purpose too. That's not an accident.
And we talked about this before at the beginning of the show, his concert in Minneapolis during the No Kings protest that they did yet again last month. Was it last month that they did that now? Man, it all blends together. They do so many of these little protests. But I would say it's cringy, right? This should have been cringy the day of this entire segment.
Do you think this is just the last vestige of like the hippies trying to hold on to some type of culture?
This is...
Yeah, Springsteen's like shadow boxing here. He still thinks he's on the
It's
forefront
old
of
school
the
capitalist
movement.
musicianship is all this really is. I mean, you see any major band that's come back, I'm not saying that they all jumped on the No King shit. This is the only asshole that I see doing
Well, no,
that.
it's people think of Rage Against the Machine the same way.
Exactly. Now,
because their
Rage came back.
their political philosophy runs completely contrary to their business model.
Right, and they were in such high demand to come back and do a tour that when they did one solid set of shows throughout the year. Every single one of those bastards sold out, and the ticket prices were absolutely astonishing. It was a last-minute cash grab while the market is still there, taking advantage.
You would see this happen when leftist creators would have GoFundMe, when they would have like Kickstarters.
Yeah.
They would go out of their way to make sure that you understood that every penny of the project was
Goes
going
towards our new album. Goes towards touring.
Because they can't admit that they're going to make any money off of it because their ideology is kind of runs contrary to the whole idea of making a profit. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think too, the one thing I will say that I think is like kind of under criticism is the part about giving the same speech. Like, that's every act you see basically plans out the same thing. The only thing they might change is if they do a special song, it's going to be somebody from that. Like when One Direction again, but like 5 Seconds of Summer came to Michigan, they did an Eminem song. They probably don't do that everywhere they go, but they probably have a song that they do everywhere they go. Or they'll say, hello, city name, and give this kind of blanket, we're so happy to be here in the blank city, whatever it might be, like the Motor City or what have you. So I don't think it's fair to say the speech is like, that's the same thing. It's like a political stump speech.
Yeah.
They give the same speech everywhere they go. So I will say that felt like undue criticism because everyone does that. Anyone that's performing in any way, whether it's a political speech or a concert, they do that. Like, that is exactly why they have the stump speech. So I don't know. That's unfair to me. But the rest of it, like the concert prices, he thinks people should pay $2,900 for the best seat in the house.
No, and that's market value.
I see some of the general admission ones here right up front. This is for his Wednesday, May 27th show at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. $7,000 right in front. I think those are box seats. General admission right in front, $1,200. I mean, some of these tickets, like far away in the boxes, are like $2,000, and then the general admission in the far back rows are like $500.
That's all him saying that's okay.
Obstructed visions and stuff like that start at like $70, and that's with like
the pillar
in front of you, $70.
Well, yeah, right.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, and that's, this is something that, of course, I'm going to relate it to my favorite person ever, Taylor Swift, but she actually went against Ticketmaster and was like, what are we doing here with these scalpers and stuff? But with Bruce Springsteen, you can't even blame the scalpers.
Well, and, you know, with the exception of douche Springsteen, too, like, we're not even looking at the main thing here, which is what I take into consideration as an ex-musician, and that's the post-market value of these tickets.
What do you mean by that?
Resale value.
Like, so you're talking
Resale
about like
value
scalpers?
is
The people that are
insane.
taking the lower and these assholes that have the money that are buying up these lowers and doubling those rates for the people that are like, oh shit,
Big
you know,
fans.
I'm gonna pay $500 to sit in the worst seat ever because I really
I'm such a
like
big
this fan.
fan,
And then some douche lord buys all the tickets and starts selling them for $1,000 for obstructed now.
Yep.
You know, just because he could, he saw, oh, we're gonna capitalize on this. So like, it goes around the board, man. The tide raises all ships.
But when he's the one when Springsteen as an artist is being like, okay, why not? $2,900 feels fair. $90 for a no King's flag. Are you kidding me? Like, that is ridiculous. And it is. He's saying, I'm here for the working man.
He knows people will pay it.
He knows he would, like, yeah, he knows that some of these kind of leftists that are really buying into this are like,
not even just that, like his old school fans and shit like that. I mean, this guy's going to be pulling people out of the woodwork for these shows, even if they don't even agree with the political message. Hardcore Springsteen fans are going to try to go to these shows.
Do you think there are people who are like not going now because of him making it political?
Probably.
Like,
I'm sure that falls on both sides. There's people that aren't going. There's people that are going. Oh, I never liked Bruce Springsteen before, but now I'm totally gonna do it. You know, because
Green Day did that. They did American Idiot, but made it like, I'm not a fan of like the Trump agenda or whatever they said. I was like,
Paramore.
Oh my God.
Did anybody see the video like right before the election where Haley Williams like read off a sheet of paper about Project 2025?
Oh yeah, I did. I saw
She's like,
that.
we need to like stop Project 2025 from happening.
Olivia Rodrigo giving out Plan B at her concerts or whatever that was
that was
also
crazy.
insane, because there are like, it's probably 50-50 minors to, you know, people who are now adults. That was insane, but a lot of them will grift off of this political landscape because so many libs that like pop music or whatever, they'll spend the money to be like, I support the current thing.
Is there any artist that you guys really like that just completely is this type of person? Like, do you have like I don't believe in the concept of the guilty pleasure movie or the guilty pleasure
Sabrina
artist.
Carpenter.
I believe that, you know, if you like a movie, no matter how cheesy it might be, that's completely fine. I don't believe in the concept that makes it a guilty pleasure. But is there like an artist who their worldview is so antithetical to yours, but somehow it doesn't stop you from liking their stuff?
Yeah, like on the movie side, I love DiCaprio movies, and
See,
he's
movies-
like a huge globalist. And then on music, I love Tyler Childers, but he's like full blown like libtard socialist guy.
Movies, it's hard because I feel like with movies, I can totally like a movie that sucks just because for cheesy value. But like when it comes to music, I just can't. Like when I see something
because
that
you're a
really irks
musician?
me, and it might be that, but it also might just be the person that I am or the way that I was raised. I can't stand the shit, and it instantly just makes me want to disassociate. Like,
Well, what part of it? Like,
I guess I don't know if it's just the cringe factor. Like, I'm honestly trying to like digest this now on my own because I never really thought about this before. But this is totally a thing that I just like gravitate away from, is when I see cringy shit like this, like just trying to take advantage of capitalizing on your fans and stuff like that. It's never been, for me, for us, for a lot of the guys that I played with back in Chicago, it's never been about ticket sales. It's been about getting people to the show. There's been times when people are like, man, I really wanted to come this time, but I just can't afford it. We got a bill. You know what, dude? I'm going to pay for your ticket. I just want you at the show. Like, that was real. And that interaction with your fans and those moments when those shows come together and those people are there and you made it happen whatever way that you could. You brought everyone there. They were there for the support. That's a show. That's a real feeling. That's people backing music. That's people supporting music. That's musicians giving it their all. That's a great show. This is bullshit.
well, I think the difference is just like scaling. It stops being necessarily just art and becomes a mixture of art and commerce at a higher level. I mean, we have that discussion all the time.
Well, sure.
about-
I mean, well, do you think any of this money is going to go anywhere else other than directly into his pocket, though? I mean, give it to Swifties for what it is. She at least paid her crew $100,000
She
a pop
tips
when
really
she
well
got
anywhere
off.
she goes too.
You know,
Yeah.
I actually really, really love that she did that because that's serious. Like, your production team and everybody that's on that tour with you are what's making the shows happen every night, not you.
Yeah.
You're just
I-
going out there and performing. None of that
Yeah.
shit would happen without that team. So
I would say mine is Sabrina Carpenter. I like her music, but I hate how much she hates men and like the portrayals of killing men in all her music videos.
Yeah.
I am not, at risk of sounding weird as a married woman, I like men, okay? men are great.
God
I
forbid.
love manly men who do manly men things, okay? And I can appreciate men for doing those masculine things. And so I'm not someone that's like, kill all men. No,
Hey, don't get
men
me
are
wrong.
great. Men are great.
Women like that I would love to see thrown from the rampart, but I'm not out advocating for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. So that's someone who I like her music, fine. I can bop to it. Don't love the way she, goes out there and is like, yeah, I hate men. I'm like, okay, girl, like, no.
Have you ever looked at Look to the Stars? I used to reference this on the show sometimes. It like tracks the charity work that celebrities do. Bruce Springsteen seems to give to quite a few charities. So at the very least, you can say that he's going to put his money into the charities.
Let's see what he does after he rakes in all this cash. Let's see if he donates anything to the causes that he's claiming to support. Let's see if he does anything whatsoever for the community at all. With all the money he's about to
stop all of the oligarchs.
Yeah, and I get it, but I always someone said, "Why are you married to Brett?" He's a manly man. What do you mean?
A lesser man would ban you, but I'm not going to ban you, son.
He's like alarmingly masculine, actually.
Actually, yeah. Like Tate's not gay, but if he was,
I think.
Precisely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
I'm comfortable saying that. I'll double down.
Wait, what did he say?
He said he's comfortable saying that if he was gay, which he's not, but if he was, looking at you.
Yeah, I've not problem saying I'd lust over my friends if I was gay.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like the best.
Is that gay? If that's gay now, I don't want to be straight.
I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, the left would instantly welcome you with open arms. You could totally be the bridge that brings both sides together.
Like, be a get out the vote.
You could be the child of Krypton that we need.
The Tatriot. That's what we need.
We need the Tatriot.
Tatriot.
All right, let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got more stuff to get into today. Let's talk about Hollywood economics. I thought this article was very, very interesting. A bit funny when you read the headline because it doesn't seem to make any sense. But as I've discussed a lot on this channel, Hollywood at the economic level seems to be spiraling and going down in flames. There have been mass layoffs. Obviously, with the topic we covered earlier with Paramount and Warner Bros., there are mergers and acquisitions. Things seem to be falling apart left and right. Businesses being offshored, sent over to the UK, foreign countries where everything is being filmed because the unions here in America are stopping everyone from doing business. But California is at least trying to make some change with more tax incentives. And I saw this article and it made me laugh. It says, the Simpsons movie sequel nabs $21.9 million to film in California.
It's a cartoon.
I don't know how you film in California, but let's listen to what it says. It says the sequel to the Simpsons movie headlines the 38 movies granted subsidies in the latest round of tax credits granted to productions in California's film office. Disney 20th Century Studios will get $21.9 million for shooting the film in state. The company is taking advantage of California's recent changes to the tax incentive program, expanding the eligible categories of production to include animated movies. Other projects that will get subsidies include untitled films from Paramount. Oh, I'm sure they're pissed about that. And DreamWorks Animation, plus a Disney live-action title. And then in total, 38 films will nab nearly $193.5 million from $545 million in qualified spending, which includes $373 million in wages. They're expected to generate nearly $800 million in economic activity across more than 1,000 shooting days. Here's the thing that I find crazy about that. Before we even get into anything else, $800 million in California isn't even all that much. Like, as sad as it is, $800 million in California isn't all that much. And they're being choked out by these, by their inability to fix things with the unions, which is why I want you to watch this clip. Now, I want to brace you. It's about 3 minutes long. But this is Ben Affleck explaining why it's impossible to make money making movies today. So here's what he has to say.
Asshole. What do you say to the people that say Hollywood is dead? It's too expensive to make movies out here.
I mean, sadly, there is some truth to that. Like going back to what we kind of talked about initially with like trying to find ways where, you know, because like where I started in this business was like before Good Will Hunting was, you know, in a bunch of very low budget, like $250,000 movie or, you know, $1 million movie, which to me, that seemed like a lot of money. You got to go get $1 million.
Kind of giving Mark vibes.
Somebody.
Wait, what do you mean? Like Mark,
the way that like Mark talks, like does that thing,
the
like
cadence, the way he talks,
totally giving Mark vibes
it's
right now.
giving Mark.
Okay,
we love you, Mark.
And I thought that like you know, it shouldn't be that the barrier to entry is so high that, you know, I think there should be, and there are, but it needs to improve, like kind of tiers where you can come in and do something that's, you know, not trying to be a very big commercial movie, trying to take some risks, trying to do some interesting stuff that still can use professional people. I would love for that to be possible, but you know, and part of it's you got people that want to work and you know and that are really willing, especially like here in town. But then you know it can cost more in California. The big thing is that other states or even other countries give these tax breaks. So
Georgia.
then it's like you can't compete with that. You know, so all of a sudden, and then they'll be okay. New Mexico, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Georgia. But then they also disappear. It's kind of whack-a-mole, and everybody, or London, like the UK gives out. That's why all the superhero movies are all made in London. And you know, I'm sure it's a lot of money in the rebates that they're giving away. And I can't speak to whether or not it's economically viable. I assume they're doing it for a reason, but it's so much money that you just can't compete with it. It's one thing like to say, you know, if you're talking about 5% of the budget, or it's 30-40% of the budget, you're fine. You know, you have no choice. And as a consequence, if something's more expensive, people get risk averse, and when they're risk averse, they'll tend to just do the same shit. Right?
Okay, so you might be interested in this because this is a discussion people have been having about what is going on with Avengers Doomsday, because there is a lot going on right now. There was recently Marvel layoffs, and they laid off a whole bunch of their animation department and stuff like that. So they're like, why is Robert Downey Jr. getting $100 million across 2 Marvel movies? Because he's getting it across Doomsday and then
he's
Secret
Robert
Wars.
Downey Jr.
Well, and they don't understand the idea. Somebody, like, there was comments in there.
Being brought in to save everything.
Literally killed off his character, and now they're bringing him back.
And there were slogans that were like, no one person is worth $100 million.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see when it comes to box office weekend for the opening of that show, because that's where the proof comes in. And the fact that they knew that this was the way to do it, Downey knew that this was the way to do it. This is an easy cash grab for him. That's why he said yes and came back. They're at the point now, and have you heard about this? They're supposedly there was talks, and I don't know if it's true or not. There were talks about them actually re-releasing
They are.
Endgame and changing
Oh.
the way that it either ends or something that starts
That's a whole
does.
idea.
That's what I said. And I think the Russos, one of the Russos even openly admitted to the fact that they were going to do it. They were supposed to be making some kind of changes in the re-release that's going to make it like not even the same ending. And I'm very interested in this. I haven't done my investigations on this yet, but I saw something about this yesterday or today.
Yeah, okay, I'm putting this up here. That is crazy. Okay, so it says Marvel is officially changing Avengers Doomsday ending to set up Avengers Endgame ending to set up Avengers Doomsday.
Yep.
So it says Avengers Endgame is coming back to cinemas in September ahead of the release of Avengers Doomsday, but it's not going to be exactly as we remember. It was confirmed last week by Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige that new surprises were going to be included, and now we know they will change the movie. Originally, it was thought that the additional footage for Avengers Endgame's re-release might have been just adding new deleted scenes as a post-credit segment. Marvel did this before when the MCU epic was re-released in June of 2019, so it was expected to be the same thing this time around. However, returning director Joe Russo has confirmed that the re-release will feature footage that is set in the Doomsday story that we have added to Avengers Endgame, making it a critical companion story to the next Avengers movie. This is evil! I'll tell you why. This is exactly what they did. If people were asking you how Brie Larson could make the Marvels and have the Marvels make no money whatsoever after Captain Marvel made $1 billion at the box office, despite the fact that nobody wanted to watch a movie with Brie Larson in it, even though we do believe that Brie Larson is on a redemption arc here at PCC. The point is, you had to go see the movie because people believed that there was stuff in there that you needed to see if the film between Infinity War and Endgame was supposed to make sense. Right? So this is just a way to force people into the theaters, not just because it changes the story for them tactically for Doomsday, but is forcing people back to the theaters so that they can know what the hell is going on.
Right. And really quick, it gives them the opportunity to capitalize one last time on Endgame because now everybody's like, oh shit, now I have to go see it so that I'm ready for Doomsday, and
This
then
is
to totally
evil,
cash
dude.
in on Doomsday.
This is evil. It says it's an opportunity to create a bridge from Endgame to Doomsday in a very unique way, and because the movie was so successful, we have an opportunity to re-release it. You don't always get the chance to re-release because it costs money, so the fact that we can enhance the story of Doomsday
For modern
by
audiences?
bridging it to Endgame. Look,
It's not 30 years old yet. It doesn't need to be enhanced.
that's the, like
what?
This is how I feel about when you go and watch a movie in theaters and then you get the edited version that ends up on a streaming service because they want to make changes to it. People are going to start having like a mass form of psychosis because they're going to be watching stuff and they're going to be like, that's not what I saw. I don't remember that happening that way. And they're going to be right, but nobody's going to tell them.
This is Disney, man.
It says, given that we know it is new content, it seems unlikely that we'll see the metal clanking sounds from Avengers Endgame's credits retconned into it actually being the sound of Doctor Doom forging his mask rather than a callback to the first Iron Man movie. So, look, I think that that's unbelievably predatory. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Hollywood's in the position that they're in right now, is that this in and of itself is unbelievably predatory. But how would you get... Look, if it's impossible to make a movie without losing money these days, he basically points out, he says, look, if you make a movie for $25 million, you have to spend another $25 million to market. The movie also has to split with the theaters, who take 50%. You're approaching $75 to $100 million before you find anywhere near profitability. Like, how does like in other industries, how would they change something like this? Like, one of the jokes that I always make is like, have you noticed how like not expensive TVs are compared to like other electronics?
There's a reason
Especially
for that.
now.
Yeah.
It's
Actually-
crazy right now. There was a boom in this country too. If you've noticed, like, you could go to the store and get like a fucking 75 inch
can.
TV
What did we
for
saw
like
the other day?
$300
There
bucks.
was one.
There was like a 96 inch for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I watched this video
less
last
than
night. That girl I've been watching, Brett, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm obsessed with this girl who will be like explaining the questions you don't like. People will be like, why does this happen? And she's like this scientist from England, and she's like, great question, I'll tell you. And then goes on and does this entire like actual reason for it, but explains it in a way that you understand. And you're like, okay. And she did one about why do TVs cost less than phones? Yeah, like I saw it last night. It was like 1 in the morning, and I saw
why
that.
was it?
It was 1 a.m. But something about the screens and like there's less that has to go into it, whereas phones have to have the technology to go on the internet. And yeah, there are smart TVs, but it's the screens specifically that can actually make the cost more.
Yeah.
That's like been a big part of it. And also having the capability to call, having the capability to use the internet, storing more data than a TV does, because it's connecting to
Watch
the
how
internet.
much
and that
more
data's
your
online.
watch how much more expensive your TV gets when it's a touchscreen TV.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is there's more interactiveness with the phone.
Yeah, everyone knows that's used a Roku TV how long it lags when you're trying to swipe through the like.
Brett's like,
shows you
"Yeah."
the RAM difference between a phone and
Yeah,
and
there
a
is a
TV.
difference, so that's why.
And also TVs used to be manufactured primarily in China or in Japan, and then they now
China.
got relocated to China, where it's far
China.
cheaper to produce goods. So.
China.
Is there a way in which you guys could see Hollywood having a resurgence? I'm asking mainly because like I'm in the weeds because I look at this stuff every day, so I kind of like it when I get the perspective from people who are just kind of
Can
looking
you
from the
define
outside looking in. Like
resurgence?
a resurgence meaning that people who are normies are looking at the box office more fondly and wanting to go see more movies in theaters. So right now they're saying that Gen Z is actually driving the theaters right now, even more than millennials.
I mean, Brett, isn't the real question, do we want it to have a resurgence?
I don't believe in the idea of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just abolishing it. Because
No,
we don't.
sure, but I mean, I'm trying to think of a way to spin this, but there's no way to do it without just
You're
sounding
trying to,
completely.
like-
If you let the baby drown in the bathtub in the first place, then it's
Yeah.
okay if you throw it out. It just doesn't sound good, no matter how I can spin it.
I think that for there to be a resurgence of media, it has to start in Hollywood, and I don't see Hollywood changing anytime soon. So I want that. That would be awesome. But it starts from, it's going to sound like the most like counselor, like.
No,
It's about to sound like the dumbest thing I've ever said. It's going to
equity.
sound so like TikTok diagnosis, but it starts from within, right? But I mean, not within the person, but within the community. They have to basically throw away whatever garbage they've been doing right now and actually go back to that. Like, we've been watching this show that gives me this like fuzzy feeling inside. I said to you last night, I wish life still looked like that, but it doesn't. And that's Sue Thomas, FBI.
Yes.
Love the dog in that, by the way. Big fan. It makes me want a dog so bad. I have dog fever right now and baby fever.
The more that I see, the more that I think that they need to just like get rid of the unions so that they can bring production back home and get rid of the unions, and that's it.
There's just
like,
something about
like to me.
that
like,
show specifically that if they could recapture that magic, like even down to the song, okay? That song, I've been singing it in my head the whole show because it's still stuck in my head. I want to capture that magic again. You can, but it's going to take a lot of Hollywood.
I don't think
getting
you'll
their
ever
heads
see a
out of
show.
their asses.
I don't think you'll ever see a show like that again, because that show's based around a person with a disability, and the way they approached grievance in that show was so unbelievably saccharine and positive that I don't believe they would ever approach a story of a character with a disability without making it.
You're making it sound like she's like in a wheelchair. She's deaf. Okay,
but the point is her handicap is a major driver of the show. And
I mean, yeah, but it is. But they do it in a way that doesn't make her
a victim.
Yes.
That's my point.
No, she's always like, that's how my life has been. And that is what it is. I work for the FBI. The chances of that even being a thing were 1 in a million, and it happened.
Even the characters in that show that are rude to her at first are humanized and shown as decent people who just happen to have a bias that, that comes out. And then they're kind of taught better and they learn from it. They would never do that. From the start now, those characters would be shown as irredeemably evil.
Yeah, but I think that, again, that goes back to the people in Hollywood not writing these characters as victims. So Sue in the show is deaf. She has a sight or a hearing dog. Her dog's
not
her
a seeing
ears.
eye dog, but a hearing eye dog.
That's why you always want to say
hearing
seeing
ear
eye.
dog. Yeah.
A hearing ear dog. Where cute dog, by the way. But she has a dog that'll tell her if the phone's ringing, because this was in 2003, so it's before they had phones that would blink your lights or whatever to get your attention. So if someone's at the door, he goes up and he jumps on the door, so someone's at the door. So I think bringing back stuff like that, where you're not making everybody look like a victim and making everybody either irredeemably evil or so they have to virtue signal so hard that it's impossible to watch. I think that's a great example. That show was a great example. And we started watching it as kind of a meme, to be honest.
I mean, like, it was more like, because I'd watched the show Blue Skies. I was like, I'm going to watch every show with a dog in it. With a dog in it. And the other reason why I don't think that they could make that show now is because people wouldn't give it the benefit of the doubt. They would automatically assume that it was some form of DEI initiative, and that it was
true.
That the show was being made specifically because they were trying to reach some quota and push an agenda. Whereas when a show like that was made in 2003, first of all, it was on PAX, which wasn't even like one of the. It was it's now it's Ion Television. It wasn't even one of the big cable stations at the time.
You've successfully blackpilled me. I don't think it's redeemable. Just by saying what you just said. The DEI stuff. No, it's not, because
I'm saying it has to come at the corporate structural level and the storytelling.
But you can never undo the idea of DEI being in everything now, because it's so in the culture now that hiring anybody that is not a straight white man or even a white woman at this point, because there are plenty of times where they say, like, white woman, oh, well, you're not minority enough. Like, being a woman it's not actually the same thing. I've gotten that before. I would say it's it's irredeemable. Like, I was like, kind of like, oh, you could redeem it. Then you were like, the DEI. I was like, oh, never mind.
Well,
not redeemable.
I'm using that show specifically. Look, there are still shows that get made that me and you like. Like, there were quite a few shows this year that me and you watched that were new shows but I don't think that they're on the level of a lot of these old shows. But I do think that Hollywood needs to figure out what they're doing with the unions. At least that's my opinion.
I agree.
All right. Hey, I see that in the chat. I am cool. I'm not cool. Don't you dare say that.
What?
It says it right there.
Cool?
It says Das Not Cool.
That's his name.
No.
That's Not Cool back again. That's the username.
I thought you were making fun of me.
No, Das Not Cool is one of the dudes.
Where is it?
He's up there. He's up there.
Farther up?
Talking about Tate Brown holding it down. Bro, no. He said Tate Brown holding it down everywhere.
Yes,
and
of course.
I said Das Not Cool back again.
Him. There we go.
He's a real homie from the Discord.
I thought you were like mad at me, so you're like, oh, not cool.
Talk about playing the victim and making everybody a victim.
Everybody's a victim. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the fact that Gen Z believes they're psychic.
Yeah, so there is a research poll that has now come out from Talker Research where 19% of Americans believe that they're basically psychic. And of that, 30% of them were Gen Z. So 30% of Gen Z believes they're somehow inherently psychic. I almost said psychotic. But it was a survey of 2,000 adults saying they employ their intuition in their daily lives, finding that another 71% rely on their intuition at least sometimes. Only 11% don't do it. Over the past year, respondents have had an average of 18 psychic moments. Across generations, Gen Z is the likeliest to say that they're psychic at 30%, having the most of these instances twice per month, doubling the frequency that baby boomers experienced 1 moment per month.
What do you think a psychic moment actually is? Where
Think
like
it's
just something
literally
you,
like a
like
gut
you,
feeling,
you,
like-
but everybody has gut feelings.
It's stupid. This is when I said like TikTok diagnose, this is what I'm talking about. You're sitting here being like, oh, I'm a psychic. No, you're just intuitive. And that's fine because most people have some kind of intuition. Some people have more intuition than others. But then there is, oh man.
It feels like the discussion people would have a couple years ago. Aiden Paladin did this great video on people who don't have an inner monologue.
Yeah, no.
I don't understand
My
that.
friend Chris doesn't have one. Shout out Chris if you're watching.
I
Quiet
don't
Park
understand
Pod.
how it's possible.
He doesn't have one, and Tim always calls them like NPCs basically. But the
Yeah.
article goes on to say, which it gets even worse as we continue reading. Across generation, I read that part. Some of the top areas that intuition reigns strongest are just quote knowing. Whether it's if something is off without explanation, 33%, sensing dishonesty, 28%, and feeling just when to walk away from something, 26%. When finances are concerned, Gen Z and baby boomers are equally accurate in their financial intuition, 14%. That's a
Do you guys,
low number, babe.
does anybody here have any moments like this where they feel like they're
Yes.
psychic?
More than twice a month, but I'm not claiming to be psychic.
Tell me.
I have kind of a morbid one, but I'm not going to say it.
Can you give me an
This
example?
is grinding my
Can you
gears.
give me an
So,
example?
Some of this shit, I feel like they're playing this up to like knowing that the light is going to turn green after you've been sitting staring at
Yes!
the opposite light when it's yellow, and you're like,
I'm
I
the
totally knew it was going to turn green. I'm
feel
a
like
psychic.
You see it turn yellow, you're like, it's about to turn green.
I'm the opposite. I fall into the category of even though I'm an extremely like realist person and very pragmatic, I fall into like bouts of magical thinking where like if I hit a yellow light before I come into work, I'm like, today's gonna suck. Like if I get
That's
caught at
just
a red
like-
light, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a bad
That's
sign.
like
that's
superstition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's superstition more than anything. Look, I think it's kind of a distinction without a difference. I've had plenty of times where I think something and it happens. I don't think I'm a psychic. I don't think like it's like that guy. Have you guys seen that clip of that guy who stops? He acts like he's stopping like the subway and then like opens the door
Yeah,
and
he
that's
goes,
all
"Ah."
automatic and
Well,
then he like runs with it
do
again.
that with the
Yeah.
like where they force open the doors.
Right, that's
Yeah.
or he goes like this and
Yeah.
then closes them and then he runs. And
He's a
so-
hero, yeah.
Or the guy, there's the video of the guy who like he drops something and he catches it and then he pretends to be Spider-Man. He's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my! And then
Patriot.
it cuts to the thing, and it's like, oh my god,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's just, that's kind of what it seems like they're saying here. Now, TikTok has been one of the biggest plagues on our
Yeah.
society, and I feel like this is all coming from TikTok and people going to like what they call witch talk and thinking they can be like intuitive and they can use their tarot cards. I'm not knocking on that stuff if you're into it, but if you think you're actually a psychic,
I like
because
the saying astrology is just racism for women.
oh, it gets even better because
Yeah,
they
it's
bring
so
up
true.
astrology
Oh, go
at
for
one
it.
point. So there's a former FBI intelligence analyst who has actually talked about logic to intuition integration, which I was like, we're getting the former FBI in on this. What are we doing here? But he said intuition is a second intelligence channel. It arrives quickly, feels light and steady, and quietly points you towards what fits. From a mental standpoint, intuition is your body compressing years of experience and pattern recognition into a clear signal you can feel right now.
So it's just a gut instinct.
So they say 24% of people thought of someone before they texted, had a notion that someone was untrustworthy, that's 22%, or knew what someone was going to say before they said it, 19%. This is like if me and my best friend, I'm not going to say her name, I'm not going to dox her on here, my best friend in the whole world, that's like her and I saying the same thing after knowing each other for almost 20 years, and someone being like, wow, they're so intuitive, they must be psychic. No, we've known each other for 20 years. We know when it's like even you and I have done that, right?
Yeah.
Where we say like similar things, or it's like me thinking about my dad and then he texts me. Like there's a good chance on any given day my dad might text me because he's my dad, so that might happen. Like that's just
Deadpool called this making it an educated wish.
yeah.
I made an educated wish. That's what I'm hearing right now.
And then they're
Which
saying
is bullshit.
Gen
It's
X.
not real.
Gen X is the least likely at 21%.
Well, Gen X
millennials-
is also like Gen X like loves not being happy.
Well,
or,
you're gonna
like,
love this
exuberant
frame.
about anything.
You're gonna love this term. Millennials have the strongest dream tuition at 21%, which I guess is like you dream about it and then it happens. Only at 21%. Gen Z is the
Dream tuition, master
tuition.
beasting. I'm done.
I don't.
Bro's about to rage
I'm
quit.
done.
I never remember my dreams. That wouldn't work.
I remember mine every once in a while. Just depends on how tired I am. But they're saying that now 35% of all respondents admit they're not confident that they know the difference between a genuine gut feeling and anxiety. But a lot of times those go hand in hand. You have a bad gut feeling, you're going to be anxious, right?
Do you think that that's because we've gotten disconnected from the real world? Like you live your life almost entirely digitally now, and you're just messing with your
Maybe.
brainwaves.
I think like gut feelings are actually like the strongest form of intuition. You have to think you have at least 10,000 years of microevolution that has like honed your senses to detect if something that maybe isn't quantifiable, something that's maybe not tangible, something that's not material, but you have the sense that this could go wrong, this could be bad, there's something off here,
Like
something
playing a
smells
slot
fishy.
machine. Yeah.
And you have a bad gut feeling. Typically, people need to go with their gut more often.
I would say go
actually.
with your gut more often.
People
point was-
overthink everything.
She said that there's a large percentage of people that are now unable to distinguish between a gut feeling and
But I don't think
general
it's
anxiety.
one or the other. I think a lot of times if you have a bad gut feeling, you're probably going to be anxious about something. If you have a bad gut feeling, that usually would trigger anxiety because that means you're in a situation that you don't feel good about.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I've never experienced anxiety whatsoever. So I always
Really?
so I have a tough
Tate
time.
Brown.
No, I'm just saying like so people that have like chronic anxiety, I don't know what that actually means.
Oh,
It's
you don't
actually-
want to, bud.
Anxiety gets Tate.
You
is
don't
what it
want to know
is.
what chronic anxiety is. It's a
It's
fucking
horrible.
nightmare.
Well, I know, but like everyone says this. So I don't know if there's like a scale. Like some people just like need to get their act together, and then some people have like diagnosable.
Yeah, there's a
chronic
scale. It's
mental
1 to
anxiety.
terror.
Because I meet some
Like-
people and they're
Well,
like,
that's
I have
panic
anxiety,
disorder.
and I'm just like, oh, you get nervous? Yeah, I get nervous.
No,
sometimes.
it's
like,
No,
It's
people
worse than
do
that.
conflate
Yeah.
that. People do conflate nervous and anxious and all that. Whereas, like, as somebody who has a panic disorder, it like I get anxiety panic attacks. It's from an event in my life.
They all end up
That's-
kind of in the
that's how it
same
happens.
pocket
because I do
together,
meet
but
some women
yeah.
that are like, I have anxiety attacks, panic. I'm like, that's being a woman. Like,
But, like, true.
But
it's
in your
hormones.
instance, it's
but
like
mine
legitimate.
was like
yeah.
any time that I fear my life because my mom died young, so I'm like
Right.
terrified it's going to happen to me. Even though hers was more self-inflicted, that's where I get
you can
anxious.
trace it back to that. You
Right,
can
and I
figure-
can
yeah.
trace it back to things that happened in her life, not that have happened in my life, but that's where mine comes from. And
Yeah.
it actually ties to I had this horrible feeling a year before my mom even had her initial stroke that she was going to die before I graduated high school.
yeah.
I was like I think I was in 8th grade when I had that first time that like went in my
Yeah.
head. She died when I was senior. Like I don't even know how that happened. That's
But
probably the freakiest one
gut
that's ever happened to
intuition,
me. But it's also because she didn't have the best, like she wasn't inherently sick, but she also was just not like the beacon of health either.
Sure.
So I definitely always had that. Like I've had gut instincts that have been correct. I've had gut instincts that have been wrong. It doesn't make me more or less.
But it's got to
a
be
psychic.
borderline insulting for you, and then these people just sort of self-diagnose that they have clinical anxiety. and
Yeah,
you're
it
like,
is because I think a lot of people that have, and you can be diagnosed, but people that like TikTok diagnose, oh, I have anxiety.
Yeah,
and, like,
literally.
does
Just
your
as
doctor
good as
tell
people
you?
claiming they have PTSD to the military members that actually do.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
like
exactly
It's
that.
I'll meet.
insulting.
I have people that I know, and they're like, "Oh, I have anxiety," and then they're like blasting like THC cards all day long. I'm
Like,
like,
I get
well,
nervous
no
around-
wonder.
Yeah, no shit. That's where your anxiety's coming from, bud.
That's like 30% of the country. I
That'd be
mean, it's
like-
crazy. These people are crazy people.
Switch
When
to
then people
indica.
that actually have like literal anxiety, where you can trace it back. It's like that makes sense. Or people that have like actual PTSD, like oh, I saw someone blow up or something. It's like, well, that makes sense.
That makes
and
sense
all
to
these
me.
people over here, I
And
think that's
PTSD
lifestyle
from
issues.
living
Self-diagnosis and like therapy speak has been a scourge.
Therapy
in
speak was what I've been trying to
Yeah.
think of all day, and I just kept
Yeah.
saying TikTok diagnosis. Well, The Guardian did make fun of it, though,
Yes,
which is
they did.
nice. They were making fun of it. They said, it's not the same at all. Don't go around invalidating other people's beliefs that they possess the power of extrasensory perception. Don't you dare. It's real.
And then it's like, and then there's people. It's like the new thing we've probably talked about on the show before. Is like, oh, I'm autistically into this, or I have autism.
I say that.
I don't have any neurodivergence, and the reason I like people are like, oh wow, Tate, you're like autistic about like I'm going off about SNAP benefits
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
I'm like, wow, you're like really autistic about that. I'm like, no, I'm just interested in it. You're allowed to have interest. We used to call it pet issues,
Yeah.
not autistically.
As someone with
I'm
an
autistically
autistic-
into movies. It's like, no, you just
I
like
have-
movies.
My brother's autistic, and I can say, like, if you just get into something for a little while, that's not autism. That's purely just like passion or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you came out of the womb and you were like, I don't like Snap. Like, that would
literally.
be autistic if that was like something you fixated on, but you don't.
My cousin has autism, and he's like obsessed with wet wipes. That's autism.
Really?
Yeah, that's autism.
Whoa, that is crazy.
Yeah, and he like reads phone books just for fun. I'm like, that's autism.
That's autism.
Yeah.
My brother's really good at math and he's obsessed with cats, hence why I'm a cat person. We grew up with them.
Yeah.
That's autism,
like,
right?
won't look you in the eye.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But then some people are like, oh, I can't look you in the eye. I'm like, no, you just have bad social skills.
Right,
That's
your
different.
social skills just suck.
Yeah.
Your parents did a bad job.
The
That's
point is
it's crazy.
the point here is this is a bullshit claim. You people are not psychic. It's not a thing that's happening.
How do we?
I don't buy it.
How do we fix the issue? Because the
You
therapy,
don't. You
therapy
don't.
speak issue, we have to be able to get away
It's
from
like
it.
DEI. It's so
There
it's
has
at least
to
for
be a
Gen
way.
Z. Like a lot of people our age are cooked, dude. They're so cooked by
Yeah.
that
Well,
speak.
dude, this is like it's like I made cheeseburger for everybody. I'm Gordon Ramsay now.
and
It's like,
Gordon
no,
Ramsay-
you're not, dude. Like, I don't know. It's
they
frustrating.
do equate it to astrology here at the very
Okay.
end of the
That's
Guardian
crazy.
article.
What's it say?
They say, I fundamentally do not subscribe to the modern resurgence of unscientific beliefs. Don't say, but then I would say that I'm a Virgo. Like, no, Susan, you're just an
We
idiot.
need,
I
like,
almost said a word I
we
shouldn't
need
say. You're just an idiot, Susan.
Re-education camps
Like-
yesterday.
I do find it the concept where everything, if you have any interest at all in something, and then suddenly it's like, I'm autistic about World War II. No, you're just like an adult dude.
You're interested with the most fascinating historical event in like world history. Yeah. Okay. That's not autism. That's called like being interested
And people
in
will
history.
be serious. Like, there's times where Brett has like said or done something. I'll be like, that is the closest to autism you've ever gotten. But I don't actually say like, oh, you must be autistic. It's just that's the closest to like something autistic you've ever done.
I mean,
Oh,
this
yeah, I'm
was-
autistically into water. I drink a lot of water.
This was a discussion people were having when they would talk about men in the Roman Empire. Like, I think about the Roman Empire once a day or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm very interested in history. I'm a geopolitical nerd. I mean, I like work. I'm a political commentator. I think about the Roman Empire maybe once a week, probably. Like that whole thing. I think all the guys in that, and this is maybe elusive people. I think people are being performative.
Yes.
In that instance, where they're like, oh, yeah, I think about it every day because I'm really smart and enlightened, and then
Oh,
they don't
they're
know
so
anything about
coping.
Rome. They don't know
They're
anything
so
about Rome.
coping.
I'm like, name 3 emperors.
Yeah.
And they
yeah.
can't.
Oh, damn, you hit
Oh,
it.
you think about it every day? Oh, that's crazy.
You name
Your
five.
only,
Name
your
five.
only thought on the Roman Empire is, wow, America's declining. Rome also declined. We're like Rome. That's like the
Name
peak
5
of their
right now. Name 5 Romes.
extrapolation of like thought about the dwelling on the Roman Empire. That drove me crazy. Like
Except
literally,
there was the one guest who was a Roman Empire expert.
Jeremy Ryan Slade. He's
yeah,
fantastic.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
I bet he doesn't think
something.
about it every day. He probably thinks about it every other day. But
yeah, he probably doesn't think about the fall of it every day. Probably thinks about it every day just in his work, but not the fall of it every day.
Yeah.
So if the expert that we know isn't even doing it, you're coping.
yeah,
Like,
this guy
you
that
are
works,
coping.
he's like a middle manager. Yeah, he thinks about the Roman Empire every day. No, but he's like got to impress his wife.
Well, it's-
Because his
Yep.
wife's expecting him to say yeah every day, so then she can make a funny TikTok.
Oh,
so this
yeah.
poor guy gets put on the. It's terrible, and it all descends from the longhouse.
This was the performative thing that was going around on X, where the women would be like, I walked in on my husband and autistically reading Wikipedia articles about this thing.
Yeah, he was using this website that's like the 3rd most popular website in the entire world. He has autism. It's like, what?
Well, no, that wasn't about autism. That was about like, look at my husband's traditionally masculine interests.
Yeah.
My husband reading about Rome. My husband
but
reading
you-
about.
He has a
You're-
base level of curiosity. He must be autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, no. Like, that's also, I feel like that's stolen valor for actual autistic people, too. Like, people that legitimately have autism, you don't want someone that's like, I love to read about the Roman Empire.
I'm sure
so
they do
autistic."
feel that way. Just like I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's stolen
I'm sure
valor.
the actual war vets with PTSD feel that way when somebody's like says they have PTSD because their parents were mean to them sometimes growing
Well,
up.
I mean,
Yeah, literally.
there's a lot of other versions of PTSD
Yeah.
that don't come with war. You know, like come with other things. You can get
That-
PTSD
I
from
said
anything,
to I was
but
saying to
That's the
to you,
stereotypical-
there's serious
yeah.
and there's not
Yeah.
serious.
The point was
you
like
know,
there was a time when that term was saved for victims of child abuse
Yeah,
and
literally.
and war and,
Or
and
like a
victims of
traumatic
war.
event.
Someone's like, I had a
Yeah.
bad experience, therefore it informs my decision making process.
Yeah.
When it relates to this topic.
Yeah.
That's called like having a brain.
Yeah,
that's
but if
not,
you react-
that's not a
But that's-
neurological
that is
disorder.
because we now, before the internet and before you had social media where all of humanity was now being discussed kind of back and forth between everybody, now we have to kind of intellectualize and pick apart traditional human behavior, whereas before you just lived your human behavior. It's kind of what I was trying to say earlier when I said, like, the reason why people can't understand the difference between a gut instinct and anxiety is because we're so far away from living a traditional life, away from your screens, that what used to be instinct, now you kind of don't know whether it's actual intuition or something else.
Well, some of that stuff that was instinct, that files into that category of instinct, was actually learned and inherent. And we used to live in a society where things were defined, and it was like, it was one of those things where, oh, you have this, oh, you have this, oh, you have this. It wasn't questioned. Now there's this whole, like, you know, open your mind wokeness kind of side to things where you can, oh no, I'm not that at all, I'm actually this, I've decided this, and this is now how this is going to be. Like, people choose the facts that they want now, not like the news. So it's just really, I don't know, it's really fucked up.
All right,
can't do it.
Let's go to super chats then, ladies and gentlemen, and then we will hang out. We've got some here, and we'll get through them. Hold on, let me go
to Rumble rants first.
Well,
so
no,
we don't forget.
We'll get to it. I don't know if there were any. I think I saw one on Rumble, but let me go and double check here. I think it was from
Chris,
Quiet
who we
Part.
just talked about.
He said on Rumble, the Quiet Part pod says he's just beast maxing.
He is beast maxing, correct.
I mean, I want to find out that
in the privacy of his own home.
Yeah, what a Mr. Beast does in the privacy of his own studio / home / workspace.
None of my business.
/ living space is none of my business. All right, from Katie. Says, spoiler alert, I saw Michael the film, and seeing his dad be physically abusive to child Michael was hard to watch.
Yeah, I heard that was a part of the film. That can be very difficult. I heard it also just wasn't good. What was your opinion overall, Katie, outside of that part of it? Was it well done? Was it a good movie? Because I've been seeing mixed reviews on it, so I'm curious. She likes biopics, I know that, so...
Yep. All right, Crouching Taylor hidden, I can't see the rest of the username, gifted 1 membership. Thank you for doing that.
Sweet.
Crouching Tiger hidden username.
Hidden Taylor, Taylor hidden, I don't know what the last part is.
Yeah.
We'll say username.
Hidden username.
Shane H. Wilder says, just had a thought. The song Be Cruel to Be Kind from 10 Things I Hate About You comes from an idiom from Shakespeare's Hamlet. My mind is blown. Well, wasn't 10 Things I Hate About You a play on Shakespeare? I believe it was.
I think so. Damn good movie, too.
It is a good movie. Corey Anderson says, OC, just a reminder, cringe is not a competition.
I never said it was. You guys just know I bring a certain level of cringe, and I feel like if I deviate from that...
You're not living
like
up to
I'm not
your
living up to the standards
expectations.
I've now set for myself.
Fair
So,
enough.
yeah.
Do you how long do you spend scrolling before you find the cringe usually?
Well, it used to be 20 minutes. Now it's more like 2.
I feel like there's levels, right? Like at first you have to be appalled enough to kind of put it into like the pocket on the side of where all appalling things go, and then you have to go back through them and find out which one appalls you the most out of all of those.
Or there are days where I'm scrolling and I just know. I'm like, that's it. That's the cringe. Like I'll have some backups, but that's, you know.
If you're not irking and pissing off your community, you're not doing it right.
Correct.
So if you've got them all
if they're
entwined,
all telling me don't
and
do
they're
that,
saying don't do it,
I'm gonna do it harder.
means
you
do
know?
it twice.
Yeah.
Give them a daily double
Exactly.
cringe. Let's go.
Let's go on here. Greg Duvier. Oh no, I'm sorry. Shane H. Wilder says Brandon special guest. Let's go.
Let's go.
Made
What
it
up,
here
Shane?
like just as we were going live.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't in any of the.
I almost did not
description.
make it.
We were under the impression you
You
wouldn't
guys
be here.
have,
Almost
Yeah.
did not make it. Even told Brett I'm probably not going to be there on time, and got here 5 minutes before we
Dude,
went
like
live.
literally like less than 5 minutes.
Dude, I
to
was
spare.
racing, and I had the top off the Jeep, so I'm just getting like wind gusted because I'm hauling ass down
Yeah.
Spacks, dude. Oh my
Do
god.
you guys have anything coming out? Episodes? Or what was the most recent thing
If
that came
we, I don't know if we switched our schedule yet. I have to look and see if we released last
think
night,
there was
because
a
usually we're like
conversation
Monday,
yesterday,
Wednesday,
but
Friday, and then
I think there was a conversation last. I just don't know exactly what that meant.
it was
so.
supposed to be going to Wednesdays and Fridays. So if we did, then we put on an episode last night, but I haven't checked.
Okay.
If not, then we should have one dropping Friday.
All right.
I don't know that there was a change.
Give
I think
a teaser.
made.
What are you guys covering?
It depends. We range on different topics basically. They all kind of come back to extreme sports and whatever, you know. But like it'll Like we had an episode that we talked about recently. It was just basically all about like 360 flips.
That's. I mean,
we spent an hour talking about the best tray flips,
you
man.
Can get, right?
Yeah, and we reviewed all a bunch of videos that were just all-time best tray flips like ever done. Talked about what our favorites were.
Didn't the dude recently do that on El Toro?
Chris Jocelyn, yes. Concrete El Toro won Skater of the Year. I think that won Trick of the Year, but I'm not sure. One or the other. I got to double check because it's been a few months. But yeah,
I've been there.
Jocelyn tray flipped it. Did you size it up?
I mean, I'm never jumping that gap.
Well, no, but did you size it up? You don't have to. You know in your heart of hearts, you're never going to do it, but it doesn't stop you from going and looking. It's like having to look off the edge of a building when you're up there. You just have to do it, you know? Like, El Toro's massive, dude.
All right, Greg Dubier says we need a timeline cleanse of the day, not cringe.
Nope, not happening. It's not the segment. It's cringe and cute. Timeline cleanse and cute doesn't have the same ring to it that cringe and cute does.
Not necessarily. All right.
Isn't cute supposed to be the timeline cleanse anyway? That's why it comes after the cringe. Is that like?
Yeah, that's why I always pick
the moist towelette after the spicy barbecue.
That's why I always pick cringe first, so that we can be relieved of that.
Yeah, that
like
makes
an
sense.
animal.
You should reverse it now.
I might have to next week. If
Make these guys feel like they're wiping their ass with like sandpaper.
If they keep complaining, I'm gonna do it.
Yep. You guys are just making this worse for yourself. Guys, we are almost at a second crisis party. Katie says, I want to tell Tate and everyone that the Aussie government is telling migrants they don't have to assimilate.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That checks out.
Yeah, you got a statement on it. You got a statement for the Aussies in the chat there.
With Albanese.
Just tell them, oi, crikey.
You want to try to lift their spirits a little bit?
Yeah. Well, Australia's positioned fairly well. One Nation's surged in the polls over the last few months. I mean, I know they're down a few points, but they're still like tied with the ruling party.
Think they can come back from this whole you don't have to assimilate thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have that problem in America. And the problem in America is this is a position that's adopted by the right wing, even though, like, a lot of people don't understand that that's implicitly the case they're making. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, for example.
Yeah.
Australia also has, like, a better defined core population. Like, it's kind of understood among Australians that, like, that kind of Anglo-Protestant identity is kind of the core of the Australian identity. Where in America, it's, like, always devolves into this kind of, like, metaphysical conversation about like what is it to even be an American. So Australia would actually be poised to establish what should be assimilated to a lot easier than America would, because also America has other groups, like we have like Black Americans, for example, that are also undeniably founding stock, and it complicates everything. Where Australia, they don't have that problem. They have the Aboriginals, which is their version of the Native Americans, for lack of a better word,
Aboriginals,
who like didn't even have a name for where they lived. And then the Australians came, the
British,
the
but
British,
the Australians.
And they had this ethnogenesis, which created the Australian identity. Other, groups have come to Australia and integrated into that and sort of added something like chicken parmigiana, I think, was like pioneered in Australia for the most part.
So are you telling them there's hope?
It's like Italian migrants have come that assimilated, et cetera, et cetera. But the new wave, the volume of migrants that's coming to Australia is really causing them a lot of problems.
All I heard was chicken parmesan.
And the government has backed off.
I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry now.
All right, Tate, do you think there's hope? Give them a message
of
hope here. Okay.
Australia's really well positioned,
All right.
actually. It's just a matter of willpower.
There you go, Aussies.
I think the Anglosphere country that's the worst off is Canada.
Oi. There you go.
Canada, I'm pretty black-pilled on. I think Australia, New Zealand, they could actually get out of this one in peace. Fun fact, a higher proportion of Australia has British heritage than Britain itself. It's like 78% in Australia, and I think in Britain it's like 75%. So
yeah, their units of measurement are different, though. I know they have the metric system overseas, and in Australia, I think they measure things in Subaru Outbacks.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
not in
or kangaroos
not in
or
roos?
something.
No, not in roos.
And Joey's in
They
roos.
just stretch koalas out and use that as a measurement.
Koala. All right.
TN Fame says Bill Gates is putting ginger DNA in the vaccines.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Well, we know Tate got vaccinated then.
No, but I did, which
all
brings back to the
vaccines.
point we got to before this, where I might actually somehow be distantly related to Tate.
It's true. Well, all white people
Are
globally
related.
are descended from Charlemagne. That's like the
So-
earliest ancestor that they've pinned is like, okay, you would be descended. And that's like, what, the
Charlemagne.
1200s?
Is anybody in the
1100s?
chat
So-
like the dude from the Breakfast Club? I love that guy.
Yeah.
I'm still
That's what they meant.
pretty confident that Caligula's like orgies populated most of the planet.
Correct.
Yeah. What would be the point? The term I'm trying to say. The point where all ancestry hits a T is a lot sooner. Like in America, probably anyone that has founding stock heritage would be related to the same ancestor. Like you only have to go up like 5 or 6 degrees. Like a lot of couples that are from the same place are probably cousins. They just don't realize it's just like 5th or 6th cousins where it's just like negligible. So,
Ouch.
Corey Anderson says the hate Mary is getting online is BS. They are using manipulated images of her in thumbnails and need to be held accountable. And he said DJ Cobra and Geeks and Gamers are trash. I have not. I've not seen it. I know that a lot of people are sharing their opinions and everybody's going back and forth.
Yep.
This is what the internet does. No one will be held accountable for it.
Yep.
Well, actually, in this case, I think everybody feels like they're holding everybody else accountable, and that's kind of the back and forth.
Well, sure, yeah.
Weary Traveler says, put a mocha on.
I would if it wasn't a 45-minute drive. I would bring her here and hold her up, and her little face would be right in the camera.
Now I want coffee, too.
She would sleep
welcome.
for the
Coffee and
majority
chicken
of the
sandwiches.
episode.
She's very cute.
She would
Very,
sleep for
very
the majority
cute.
of the episode.
She
right
would.
there.
She'd be right here because she can't hear anything, so the crisis parties wouldn't even wake her up. She'd just be there sleeping.
Just center table and just like
Little
put her-
pedestal, so we can all
put
just
her in a
pet
thing there
her.
in the
She's very
center,
cute.
yeah.
Weary. Oh, I read the Weary Traveler one. Corey Anderson says, Mr. Beast smiles like the Mr. Skin logo.
Ew.
I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
definitely something like I don't know, Jehovah's Witness about the way that he smiles at you. It's just like whatever you're selling, I don't want any of it.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't hate. So I was told when I was in school, you can't hate somebody for their laugh because it's
That's
the most honest thing they
about
have.
them, yeah.
And I think it might extend to their smile as well. Like, bro,
Well, yeah, 'cause
can't-
when you laugh, you
bro,
Things that you
smile.
can't control.
bro
I was
can't
actually
control that he looks dead in the eyes.
Cody
when he
yelled at
smiles.
me on the podcast about this actually recently.
really?
Well, we go to blows with each other sometimes just out of boredom, and we'll just talk shit to each other randomly. And I made a short joke, something about like, oh yeah, you should take him with you. And I'm like, well, it wouldn't be hard to bring him on an airplane. You just stuff him in a duffel bag.
Damn.
And he like,
I'd crash out too.
he's
validate.
usually pretty good sport. We're all pretty good sports about insulting each other on the podcast. It's all in fun. We're all friends. But you could tell it kind of hit a little bit of a nerve. He just wasn't expected to get like cracked from the side like that. So he was like, you know what? He's like, it's kind of bullshit that like people get made fun of for things that they can't control, like their laugh. He's like, Brandon, you have the worst fucking voice I've ever heard in my life. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, there you go. You just rang back.
Yeah,
I'm
there
so
you
proud
go.
of you.
Yes.
Like, let's go. But yeah, crash back. I love it.
Yeah. If you're if you are like as a short person, you have to get cool with it real quick. Otherwise,
You have to identify as a tall person. Yeah.
Yes, short person, like short guy syndrome is a real thing.
Short
for the
king.
one. No, that's different.
No, it's short king.
guy syndrome for the guys who like they can't handle it because
Oh, okay, but the
Springsteen
guys who-
heard the word king and just woke up from his mid-afternoon nap.
they take offense to it
So
because
yeah.
they can't handle the fact that they're
But
short.
short
No
kings,
kings,
can
only money.
embrace
Never
it.
want to get pulled over by a short cop.
Okay.
Never.
I'll remember that.
Stick your head out the window.
Yeah.
Sure.
You want to make sure that dude
Yep.
is of reasonable height because otherwise he's got something to prove and he's
Oh,
going to
you're
be
right. Yeah, he's going to compensate.
Yep. You don't want it. All right. Shane H. Wilder says, Mr. Beast taming the one-eyed beast. Look what a man does in the comfort of his own
That's
multi-million
exactly
dollar
what he
media
said.
company is none of my business.
Oh, man. Moving on.
Corey Anderson says, happy birthday, Olivia.
Thank
Well,
you.
it's
Well,
early.
it's tomorrow, but I'm going to let them say it today because I won't be on the show tomorrow. So, thanks.
Weary Traveler says, McDonald's over Chick-fil-A over Wendy's.
Okay,
So,
valid.
McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's.
Valid.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, I watch History in the Dark, and he does a lot of the histories of companies going under. It is always private equity and usually Sun or Bain Capital.
I thought he was just going to say, I watch like history. And I was like, that's nice, Shane. Thank you for telling us what you do in your off hours.
I turn off all the lights.
It's a little, I watch history documentaries. I was like, that's a little too much, man. Like, we're friends, but that's a little too much,
All right.
I light a candle and play Age of Empires.
Here we go. Yoda from
Matt
Matt Stork says, Yo dog, I heard you like pop culture, so now that the top 10 movies by revenue were popped in Q1 by Bollywood, do we even believe in Western culture leading media anymore? I mean, a lot of people believe that died out ages ago when manga became as popular as it is here in the U.S. as an export to the U.S. as opposed to the U.S. exporting culture
That is
worldwide. So
I'm shocked because I heard that it took 1,000 Asian guys to beat one Swedish guy.
That is true.
Just,
That was a good one.
I'll always give it my all.
That
for
was
you
a good
guys.
one. We appreciate.
I'll embarrass myself every day for you guys.
All right. Let me see where I left off here. Shane H. Wilder says, speaking of Minneapolis, can we talk about the better musician Tom Waits and his 1978 hit Christmas Card from a hooker in Minneapolis? It's like
We
6
could,
O's.
but
in
nah.
Tom Waits is good. I wish I had Tom Waits' voice. Pop Culture Junkie says, hearing that many of the tabloid trollers in D.C., I'm talking about you, New York Post, aren't very happy with mountains of cash. TMZ spreading around district and shelf tips, spreading around district for top shelf tips. You're right, not taxed. So can they I guess they could tip the bouncer and it goes like as a tip.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. Shane H. Wilder said, this is why I'm an Alice Cooper fan. He said, just shut up and rock, and his tickets are cheap, like $75 for pit seats.
Nice.
Alice
Cool.
Cooper puts on one of the best live shows you'll ever see in your life, too.
Nice.
It's insane.
Nice.
All right. Corey Anderson says, F Marvel, this is exactly why I stopped watching movies.
Bro, Corey's like very aggressive today.
Yep.
And Corey, look, I'm going to say this woman to woman. Calm down. Sorry, that was insulting.
It's all right,
Love you,
man.
buddy.
It's all right. I feel you. I'm right there with you.
Quiet Inari says, AG Banta's wife is pushing the Nick Shirley bill and voted against harsher penalties for child sex traffickers.
Yeah, I've heard there's a ton of there's corruption everywhere, but California has been particularly bad.
What's going on with the Nick Shirley bill? Can somebody tell me?
It's in California, and it's basically to stop him from being able to ask those questions about the corruption. Like, it essentially makes it so that he can't disclose that publicly.
They're like,
that's
I want to
pretty much
ask
in a
questions
nutshell.
about. I want to ask questions about your corruption. They're like, you can't ask those questions.
Pretty much like not being able to like go in and to a daycare and talk to them. Like, they're basically trying to stop him from exposing how corrupt they are.
All right. Go back here. Where did I leave off? There we go. Brian Bledsoe says, just like WWE ticket prices and Endgame re-release, the only way a business change course without government interference is if the customers don't engage. Yep. WWE did end up selling, I think they were, it was like over 100,000 for WrestleMania, 100,000 people between the two nights. It was like 50 and 55,000. It's but like I said, they from what I was told, like some dude who's just really rich paid money so that he could sit ringside with the announcers and not say anything. So they'll just whore it out for anybody. Like they're just like, I don't let okay, TKO being what it is, I don't know if I agree with the term late stage capitalism, but what TKO is doing with WWE feels like like if I was a leftist, like I would be like, okay, this is very clearly an example of like, at one time WWE, when it was run by Vince McMahon, for all his flaws, he wanted families to be able to go to the shows. He considered it was supposed to be the economical thing for a family to be able to do, to go out and see a wrestling event. And now the way it's done, where everything is like labeled and it's constant, like you get a 4-hour show with an hour of wrestling and 3 hours of ads. The tables that people are like putting wrestlers through are branded by companies and corporations. Like, I don't know if late stage capitalism is real, but if it is, it's definitely what's going on with TKO and WWE right now. It feels just over the top.
That's alive and well.
All right. Shane says, to quote a great man, Patrick Jane, there's no such thing as psychics. Well, yes,
Correct.
Patrick Jane does say that in the show all the time. Shane H. Wilder says, because of Chat and Olivia, I made a movie poster for the Tatinator.
We actually
Tag
made
the
a
show and
burger
tape.
before it went live. I think my
Yeah.
dad is watching this. My dad, for some reason, decided that was going to be his nickname. That
I love that.
No context. I mean, you've met him, right? But it was the Tate-nator, and we made up a whole burger where you put on the tater tots, and that's all I'll say because we're gonna keep our recipe secret. It's like the crusty crab
proprietary.
recipe.
Yeah, it was tater tots.
You can't tell him
and
everything. Don't tell him.
melted
Nacho cheese,
cheddar
and
or
there's
nacho.
Proprietary.
Yeah.
and then there's other stuff in there that you guys can't know about because we're
Right.
gatekeeping the recipe.
Two all beef space.
When it hits the
sausage,
market,
cheese,
it'll be too late. We've already
Pickles.
seized on the opportunity
Yeah.
onions, lettuce, and
for
sesame
some
seed.
sort of
Stop
combination that
giving
would never
them
have even
the
occurred
secret.
to the most fanatical
Brandon.
of burger
Yeah.
artisans. They would
I have
never
a couple
put
others
these
in my
together.
head that you're not gonna.
I just
be able
gave them
to
the
out.
recipe to the Big Mac,
You know-
so you don't have
Okay,
anything to
well,
worry
you're
about.
good. Yeah.
Like, you know what out of the box burger combination I really enjoyed was Sonic had a menu item a few years ago, the peanut butter burger, and it was actually not that bad.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They did that.
It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
it was pretty good.
No,
Had to be the
don't
couple
say
years that I was away from Sonic. I fuck with the Coney.
Someone in chat just
Yeah,
said,
it's
Foot long Coney.
it's you hear it and you're repulsed, and then you try it and you're like, ah, yeah.
Ocean waters are really good. I love ocean
Yeah, I love
waters.
it, yeah.
people in the chat are now saying Brett and I should adopt Tate.
We can do that.
Okay, Tate.
We can do
Welcome
that.
to the family.
I'll get emancipated and we can make it happen.
Yep.
All
Be
right.
a hero. Adopt a ginger.
Shane H.
Am I
Wilder.
getting y'all's health care?
Shane H. Wilder says, I'm Roman Catholic and don't even think about the Roman Empire every day. I can't name 3 emperors, but I can name 23 popes. And then you just put John.
What?
Yeah, the joke is that there's
Yes,
a
I
lot
know.
of
Yes.
yeah.
All right.
It's clever.
Corey
It's clever.
Anderson says Caesar's, Augustus, Septimus, Nero, Caligula, Tiberius, Octavius. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. Oh, and Hadrian.
Hadrian built a nice wall.
Yep. Corey Anderson says, my point was OC is trying too hard with the cringe.
I'm not. You just gotta know where to find it.
Shane H. Wilder says, chicken parm.
So
True.
good.
It's very
God
nice.
damn it! I had
I'm so
forgot
hungry.
again.
I'm so hungry.
I'm hungry.
Weary Traveler says, oh my gosh. My cough is still there. It's unbelievable.
It's like
been over
it's
a
like
month.
coming back.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It's one of those
awful.
things where I'm gonna like wait for you to walk out of the studio and I'm gonna scare the shit out of you, and
Hopefully
we'll
it
see
just
if that
stops.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be
What?
cured.
That doesn't make a cough go away.
We don't know until we try it.
That's right. We're going with every
This
method
isn't
here.
hiccups.
It's
What are you
worth
talking
it. It's worth
about?
a shot.
It's worth
It's worth
a
a
shot.
shot, man. Science.
Yeah.
It gets like way worse at like the end of
You
the
just
day.
gotta believe. And honestly, if it does work, then I can come back on the show next week and say I'm a fucking psychic. So let's
True.
go.
True.
Let's
That's a very
go.
good
And a
point.
doctor.
Very good
Weary
point.
Traveler says, yeah, I got anxiety. I also take 100 milligram edible a day. What
literally.
about it?
Yeah.
I know, literally.
That's probably why you're anxious, bestie.
I'm so fed up with this. Like, this. It's like a whole third of the country at this
Tate's
point.
gonna
I
go.
mean, it's
Tate's
just
gonna like crash out about weed in a second if we're not careful.
literally.
No says,
For real.
I've been getting eviscerated being a Mary simp.
Okay.
Das Not Cool says, happy early birthday, OCD. Great show today, everyone.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am.
That's not cool.
Sorry for mistaking you for my wife making fun of
Yeah,
you.
it's yeesh.
All right. Bob Man says, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder says, I just lost it. How many Asian chefs to beat a Swedish chef?
I guess it depends on which kind of Asian.
I mean, the Swedish chef from the Muppets, no one's beaten him.
yeah, he's pretty
pretty good.
prolific. Yeah, it depends on which
Yeah.
kind of Asian. The Japanese, they are quite exceptional when it
Yeah,
comes to
with, like,
adopting
knife,
any
fork,
sort of
and stuff.
cuisine.
Yeah.
If you're going like, I don't know, Cambodian, you know,
Corey,
who's thought about
If
Cambodian
it's
cuisine?
if it's a Swedish chef, maybe if it's the Swedish chef, not
right,
happening.
that could be
you
a
know?
problem.
Yeah.
Corey, I need you to calm it down in the
Yeah.
chat, please.
Yeah. Corey's a little aggressive today.
Love you, but need you to calm it down.
Yup.
Shane H. Wilder says, Olivia over here. Corey, calm down. You're acting like your mother.
Yes. Then he said, "OC, I'm a man. How dare you?"
Oh.
It's called a joke, my friend.
All right. Where did I see here? Okay, Cool Video says, a private equity firm owned Joanne Fabrics and the company went under last year. I worked there for 6 years. Also, happy birthday, Olivia.
Thanks. And I also worked at a Joann's for 2 years,
Yep.
and I freaking love Joann's. Okay.
Yeah, she
Still hurts.
This is the saddest I've ever
If you
seen.
could
her.
have PTSD from a company closing, I would have it. Okay, because I freaking love Joann's, and sorry, I'm okay.
And I tolerated walking around.
Look,
Joanne's.
I love Joann's. Now, I did love the sales when they were closing, but if they could have just like done a big like 80% off the whole store sale for like a week and then just gone back to being Joann's, okay, sure. But I was a Joanne supremacist actually. So.
Skate Man says, I've been to, I think he meant SmackDown this year. It's funny when we all boo WrestleMania Saudi next year. Yeah, I mean, look, the theory that I've seen floating around is that they're looking to that TKO just wants to sell WWE to the Saudis.
Ugh.
Sell it to Saudi Arabia, to the royal family.
Why not?
Greg Duvey, no, don't do it. Wrestling is one of
Why not? Just
Brandon's
get rid of it.
chaos.
Do it. Just burn it all down.
Brando's like, just do
Sell
the
it to the
chaos.
Saudis. It's the next. It's the next series of weapons.
Greg Duvier says, Greg Duvier says, I'm a little behind in the show. Did I hear about Olivia's birthday, that Olivia's birthday is tomorrow? Happy birthday. It is also my 39th birthday tomorrow. Let's go.
Happy birthday, Greg. If I don't see you
birthday.
in the chat tomorrow.
HBD.
Happy birthday, friend. I will not be 39.
Yep.
I will not tell you how old I am. I've already said it, but I don't care. I'm not going to tell you guys how old I'm going to be. But I will not be 39.
20.
Skate Man.
No, we just did that one.
No, here's another one. Brett
I know,
just
but
realized.
we got one from Shane H. Wilder above it.
Oh,
It says,
Amory Traveler.
he says, I misunderstood and just turned Tate into the Terminator. Also, the private equity for Joanne's was Leonard Green and Partners. Thanks, History in the Dark.
Well, Leonard Green and Partners can go suck a nut. I'm done
Yeah,
with it.
literally.
It's the
Screw them.
Terminator, and I'm
pissed.
sticking
Yeah, I need to go
it.
investigate
this.
his creation here. This is interesting. I want to see how this.
Okay.
Weary Traveler.
Weary Traveler says, I demand a Tate rant about weed as someone who dabs multiple times a week.
You should
Oh.
go watch a show from today if you want to do that.
Yeah, I went off. I had to kind of go off moment at the end, but I don't know. I'll keep ratcheting it up because the Trump admin is just getting tossed around by big weed right now, and
Here he goes. Let's hear it.
no,
Big
I'll end it here as just like it's effectively like it's a big racket what's going on right now.
There you go.
In regards to the lobbyists that have come in line, the connections that they have in the White House, it's really despicable stuff. So even if you're pro weed, I think I laid it out a little bit in the show. You could probably agree with my position.
But don't
on-
threaten him.
Yeah.
I think what Tate is trying to say is all you globbers out there need to put down your fucking carb caps and go take a shower.
Yeah, I concur.
What the hell is a globber?
It's better to not ask questions.
You could say glaba, but
What does
a
that
little
mean?
too
You're trying to say I hard-r'd the globber?
You did,
Is that-
yeah. You just did it again.
relax.
You just did it again.
All these globbers! I'm
Globbers.
sick of them!
Man,
I'm so
people who annoy you.
I'm so sick of all these globbers in my neighborhood!
Globbers!
Get every globber out of here!
There you
Moving
go.
on.
Moving
It's-
on.
It means weed. It means they like
Okay,
weed.
I did
yeah.
not know that.
It means it's dabbers, yeah.
Skate Man. Well, then why didn't you just say?
Look how much fun we had when I didn't.
That was a blast.
Sometimes you have to omit details.
I just had a very good time, actually, yes.
Skate Man says, Brett, just realized you're in your Undertaker Michelle McCool podcast arc. Happy birthday, Olivia.
Thanks.
So, if you don't know, The Undertaker used to have a podcast called 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway. That was like right after he retired. And he had this other guy who was a co-host with him. And then eventually, his wife
That's right.
joined the podcast.
It's not that.
It's
not that. It's we're working with Mary's schedule right now, so
Yeah.
I'm here to fill in when she's not, but it is still Mary and Brett.
It's from what I understand, you don't interrupt as much as Michelle McCool does. Like apparently,
But you
Michelle.
do.
Well, yeah, but that's my job. That's my job.
I had to roast you once.
It's my job to interrupt.
Yep.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, "I'll tell you happy birthday tomorrow. No B-Day months. Yes.
Some people only see me here, and
Yes.
so that's why.
Yep. All right. Corey Anderson says, apologies to the panel and the cast. I'm having a bad healing day. However, there is no excuse. Please forgive me.
Yeah, no, he
Just,
got some kind of surgery or something recently.
Oh, brother, are
so
you
maybe
okay?
you're in pain or something. No, it's okay. We don't take it personal. It do be that way sometimes. I hope you're all right, though. I did send you, by the way, Corey, today. I remember during the show, I sent you that thing for Harper's Ferry Brewing Company that you knew about. I did send you that thing.
So
Sounds weird, but yes.
I got beef with them.
Why? Oh, never mind. I know your beef, I think, maybe.
We all went there for a beer after like an IRL or something one night, and literally it was like 15 minutes before close. They served everybody, and when I was coming up at the end of the line to get mine, they're like, "Oh, we just stopped serving."
Oh, so
and
you
I'm
just
like,
took it personal?
"Yeah, I took it personal." Are you kidding me? I was the last person there in line. I was clearly there
That's
while
rough.
they
Maybe
were
they
serving.
ran out.
No, they didn't. They're a brewery.
Yeah,
they
that's
had plenty
true.
of beer. They just
maybe
started
they just don't like you.
clearing up all their, and that's what I was like. All right, cool. Well, you want to play that bullshit? Like, I'm just, you know.
Well, you don't have to give your money to them.
I'm gonna
but you
slander you
should.
guys on PCC.
Look, you don't have to
guys,
give your money to them, but you should give it to me by going to their spring market.
It sucks because they have such a nice. They have like the most amazing property I've like ever
It's
seen in my
awesome.
life.
Yeah.
Like ever seen in my life. But they're super douches, and I'll never go back.
We have another one here from Shane H. Wilder. He said that's why Corey was high AF yesterday. I just figured
F.
Corey got high. I didn't question it.
Broody Gambit over on Rumble says, I'm in the middle of my final of professional development for my final professional development course for advanced Excel functions.
No.
So I should probably be focusing on that. Hope y'all are doing well. Well, brother, that sounds difficult. I'm horrible with Microsoft Excel.
Also, like, just that continuing learning stuff that they make you do at jobs is like,
It's called acceleration.
well, they can shut up with it.
Broody Gambit also says, best burger I ever had. French toast instead of bun. Patty, pork belly, fried
don't do that
egg,
to our
and
girl.
cheese. I had it almost a decade ago and still talk about it at least weekly.
Is that even a burger anymore?
That's amazing.
That sounds
Don't
nice.
talk about our girl that
Dude,
way.
hell yeah.
This is why, I consider myself well traveled. I've been to quite a few places. I still maintain that American food is the best food.
Yeah, well-
I'm not saying it's the highest quality. I'm not
But
saying
it
it's
is
the
the
most
best.
nutritious. It's far from the most nutritious. But just talking about flavor, the experience that you have while you're eating it, it's unbelievable.
It's everything.
It's high
everything.
sodium count. Yes, sodium's addictive. That's part of the reason it's so good.
So sugar, and here we are. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I used to work at a diner, and we sold something that was French toast, egg, and I think it was sausage, and it was like an egg and cheese or whatever with and sausage, but it was French toast. And you think it would be gross? I tried it, bro. That hit.
Oh yeah, I mean the
good.
McGriddle's fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
that, but with French toast. And man,
That'd be really nice.
Oh, it was so good. There was like one day that the cook accidentally like made the wrong one. It was a Saturday morning, and we were like so busy on Saturday mornings. We never have time to eat or anything. And since the person didn't want cheese and she accidentally put cheese on it, we got to split it.
Ooh,
Divine.
there you go.
I like ran into the dish room, like shoved my face with this thing. It was magnificent.
All right, guys, before we go, would y'all hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the episode out with everybody. We want more people to see the content and then go talk about it in the comments. We appreciate it very much. All right, Brandon, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Brando Boonies on Insta and on X. Thanks for having me back, and enjoy the rest of your week.
All right, one more from Shane H. Wilder. He says, I like hoidles, and the right lane is for dimes. And one from Weary Traveler. He says, I hope you kept the coffee piping hot, Olivia.
I would also, you know how like sometimes at diners they have it on the thing and it gets burnt at the bottom and you can tell it's burnt. I dump that out. I'd be like, give me 5 minutes. I'm getting you a fresh cup right now.
Patriot.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was that server.
You people are the backbone of the
And
country.
I would ask. I'd be like, hey, like, you know, it's clearly burnt. You're not going to want that. You can wait 5 minutes. I'll get you water. They're like, sure. I'm like, sweet. Let's do
Patriot.
it. Yeah.
You are the backbone of the country,
Yeah.
ironically.
All right, Tate, where can they find you?
Yeah, X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Follow me on X to see my diatribes.
Perfect.
I'm at war. I just like one of my pet issues is like Snap, and then there's finally a
You're at
news.
war with the rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, there's finally a news cycle that like I can speak on, so I'm very excited. That doesn't happen very often. So
I mean, you don't need a news cycle. Sometimes you can just drop something into the ether.
yeah, I probably should just start spurring out more. You know,
You
just like no one's discussed an issue in a while, and I'm like. Actually, the Trump Obama monkey video was kind of funny, just out of nowhere. No one's talked about it for months.
Yeah.
All right, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on X and on Instagram at Olivia Dasovic. You guys should go to timcast.com, hit join us, become a member of our server where we're hanging out, we're having fun. We do the pre-show and the green room all in one. You get to watch us record that live and chat with us. It's a great time. I've been seeing some people coming over from the Discord in this chat, and I've been loving that, supporting it. It is great. So yeah, you guys should go do that. Supports what we're doing here, not just with the Discord, but with PCC. So see you guys over there.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific, Amazon Music. Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. Greg Duvier says the left lane is for toidles. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see y'all then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.